A change had occurred in the world. It wasn't something ordinary like shifts in tectonic plates or volcanic eruptions. Monsters. Suddenly they started appearing around the world, pushing our world to the brink of extinction. And, protagonist says, there's a lot of you. The entity that made it possible for them to appear. The Tower. The mysterious land that gave those monsters power and authority. People call it the Devil's Tower, or God's Tower. The reason why it was called that. Climb the tower. Everything that you could ever wish for will be inside. Power, wealth and honor. Climb the tower and we will satisfy all your desires. Fight through the challenges we have for you. A massive tower with a total of 999 floors. The beings that command that place were gods and demons. Governments around the world tried to stop people from approaching the tower. Governments around the world tried to stop people from approaching the tower. However, nobody could stop people from challenging the tower. Just like the gods and demons had proclaimed. Those who tried to stop others from challenging the tower were punished. It has been 5 years since billions of people have started paying attention to the tower. Protagonist says, let's start humanity's first attempt at clearing the 6th floor. We see he is standing in front of so many monsters. Someone do a blast there. Protagonist says, you dare stop me. Ninastar. One Ninastar says, what do you think you are doing? Ninastar. Amongst the millions of challenges, 9 people stood above them. Using the magic and holy energy they have earned from the tower. Their powers were second to none. One of them says, be careful everyone, he's not stable right now. Protagonist says, how dare you? To think you would stop my noble actions. Don't think that this will end with your death. The star called Dark Star, or Death Star. He wasn't a master of a weapon, nor was he superhuman. But he was the man who managed to surpass the Ninastar and take the title of the strongest, Cha Jinhyuk. Protagonist says, awake, the man who brings death. The epitome of death. The greatest necromance. Protagonist says, perfect. I was getting bored of peace and humanity anyways. All I need is to be strong. I'll use you all as summon beasts and become the greatest. One Ninastar says, I know he betrayed humanity and sided with the devil. I guess we have no choice. Ninastar. Defeat the traitor, Jinhyuk. Although Cha Jinhyuk betrayed and attacked the Ninastar after being consumed by power. He was unable to beat the entirety of Ninastar on his own. Nistrar says, Cha Jinhyuk. Accept your punishment for betraying humanity. Cha Jinhyuk, the traitor who betrayed humanity for power. We see protagonist get hit from the deadly attack. However, that was just the story the world was aware of. Cha Jinhyuk did not betray humanity. In fact, he was betrayed by the 9 stars, 8 to be exact. However, that fact was hidden from the world. And 10 years have passed since then. We see a person in the bed saying, I will return. Ninastar. You bastards. He say, what? It worked. It actually worked. My secret skill. Soul transmission. At the moment I am about to face death. This spell allows me to send my soul to a body that suits me. Looks like it managed to find me a body with similar physicality. It seems we are still in South Korea too. Damn it. Those damned Ninastar. I would have been fine clearing the 600th floor by myself. They offered to help, then betrayed me. Jinhyuk say, why? Ninastar replies, do you want to know why you were betrayed? I'm certain he won't be able to summon anything on these hallowed grounds. The boy name is Paladin Kane Pellin. The girl name is Saintess Carmen Pellin. Death Star. Although you may be called the one-man army. When it comes to just you, you're nothing compared to us, don't you think? Jinhyuk replies, I was only trying to help you. Paladin says, don't take things too personally. It's not like we have bad feelings toward you, it's just. I guess you can call it pulling out weeds. Jinhyuk says, Gunchu is that bastard with all of you too. My friend and the star of the combat among the Ninastar, Choi Gunchu. He decided not to participate in clearing the 600th floor. Did you not tell him because you were worried he would help me? Jinhyuk thinks, they got me. Damn it, my vision is starting to blur. I lost too much blood. Fine. It's my loss. I'll die once for you all. But don't think that this will be the end of everything. I'll return stronger. You traitors. I'll make sure I'll get my revenge. Just wait. I won't even turn you into my summoned beasts. I'll make sure to grind your souls and prevent you from reincarnating. He pick up a smart phone. Maybe it's because I haven't used one in a while, but it's pretty nice. He see that 10 years have passed. It felt like mere moments. Exclamation mark. 0 years. What kind of skill is this? Wait. Skill. Can I even use my magic with this body? He kill a fly. And say awake. He says, awake again and again, but nothing happened. Damn it. There's not a single drop of mana in this body. Does that mean I need to climb that tower? Without a single skill I can use. Wait. If 10 years have passed. Don't tell me they managed to climb to the top. He check on his phone and see, Ninastar Choi Gyunghoon reaches floor 800. He thinks, these bastards. They only managed to climb 200 floors in the last 10 years. No. This is a chance. While they are taking their sweet time climbing the tower, I can catch up and get my revenge. Training outside the tower is pointless. I need to leave now. Although my body may be that of a beginner, I have the knowledge of the Death Star, Jinhyuk. I'll use my knowledge and know how to get strong fast. Just wait, Ninastar. I'll make sure I get my revenge. We see the Seoul Tower entrance. There are so many people outside the tower. Jinhyuk thinks, the place where everyone hopes and stories are collected. The tower. We see inside the tower, there are stairs and also a coffin with some scary skeleton inside it. We see a girl running from someone. One person has many gold coins, he says, on the name of Jinhyuk. I'll make sure everyone is aware of me. 1 p.m. The tower entrance is now open. The doors are open. Everyone stay focused. Jinhyuk. This is the start of my revenge. He enters the tower. We see a message saying, welcome climber. Jinhyuk thinks, it's been 15 years. Message. Welcome to the tutorial stage. He thinks, tutorial, my ass. There's no other place apart from here where you can experience such a level of difficulty. A path filled with traps that would require a few days of running to reach the end. Everyone said that out of the 10 floors, this place was the most ridiculous. Objective. Reach the destination by getting past all of the traps. All damage will be recovered when you reach either the destination or the starting point. Good luck. He thinks, I need to see this body's status. Status window. We see he is mana type, and his all stats has 1 point, trait gluttony. He thinks, that's horrible. Huh. Gluttony and mana type. These aren't the stats I had before I died. Don't tell me traits and physical talent differ between souls. Then, during the tutorial, I'll get everything I can out of it. He starts running. We see a message saying, you have left the starting point. A magic arrow trap has been triggered. He dodges the arrow and thinks, the moment the arrows are shot is the only time you can see them. My know-hows hasn't gone anywhere. We see so many arrows behind him. He says, isn't this a little too much for a welcome? He gets hit by the arrow from the front. He thinks, not yet, a little more. He gets hit by so many arrows from the front again. Although it hurts, I need to keep going. He reaches the starting point of the tutorial area. Message. You have returned to the starting point. All damage has been recovered. He says, first, I'll see how much I can endure. But I can't just mindlessly run forward. The 2 traits that made me Earth's strongest climber. One of them is, gluttony. Gluttony. You devour a non-living thing. And make all of it yours. The blood I spilled is lifeless. And the experience I get from spilling it, will all be mine. We see his stats all increased by 1. Nice. My tolerance express has increased. Even I don't bother with the annoying equipment settings, I can still withstand the basic status abnormalities. It'll take me a week to clear the tutorial and become a great climber. But I'm going to tank all of the arrow shots and continue. I'm going to increase my stats with gluttony. Until I max out my tolerance express. 1 month later, he clears the tutorial level. He says, "It took a long time because I was going back and forth." Did it take me a month? We see a message saying, "Several gods and demons are taking an interest in your method." He says, "You are here this time too. Again. You sadistic sick bastards. Demons and gods. They watch us and see if someone is similar to them appears. Those disgusting sadists. None of them are revealing their god name or their real name. They're probably playing tricks to make me their disciple. Even if I did well in the tutorial, there's no need to scout me." We see a message saying, "There seems to be a demon who is smiling. Peak of all evil is greeting you with a, 'How have you been?' He says, 'Ball, you again. You stalking bastard. Peak of all evil. Ball. In my previous life, he was the demon who stuck to me like glue in order to make me his disciple. Did he recognize me? The person who let me obtain soul transmission was him. Yeah. I got the benefit of soul transmission you gave me, stalking bastard. Hey, they're attracted to me because of you. Peak of all evil is apologizing. Every god and demon talking about him. He says, 'Can't you all shut up? You're all freaking annoying. Whom do you think I'll go under? If you want to observe in secret, then shut up and watch.' Peak of all evil is sulking. He says, 'And even if I do choose someone, you're definitely a no-stop dreaming.' Then, shall I take a look at the tutorial stage rewards then? He sees his tolerance express is maxed out. His all stats are increasing. He says, 'That's good. It's hard to obtain mana at this stage. Since I'm a mana type, I was able to increase my mana even though it's something that doesn't usually increase.' We see a message saying, 'Due to your growth progression, a trait has been unlocked.' He thinks, 'A trail. I already have a gluttony. Is it that trait with the question marks? I see the owner of this body already possessed this trait. Trait unlocked. All-rounder.' He thinks, 'All-rounder. What's this? All-rounder. A talent that allows you to be good at everything. No matter the technique, a proficiency adjustment is applied during training. During combat, there is an additional adjustment in proportion to your proficiency.' He thinks, 'This is amazing. With this, it might be possible. The name I failed to obtain even though I made a preparations for long time the best at everything, an all-master.' Peak of all evil is curious about your status window. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. Message. Peak of all evil is curious about your status window. He says, 'Forget it. Stop bothering me, and get lost. I'm moving on to the next floor. Feel free to follow me if you want.' Message. Peak of all evil asked if he could follow and now is coming with you. He thinks, the next room should be the room of choice and training. Message. You have entered the room of choice and training. Welcome to the room of choice and training. You may select a weapon and class that suits you best. Once you have completed your selection, destroy the floor beneath you. You will be transported to the first floor of the tower. He thinks, in my past life, after finding out I was mana type, I didn't even hesitate. And chose to become a mage. However, he says, to generate a practice target. All-rounder. Why don't we check how impressive this trait is? System. Target has been generated. He hit the target with arrows, and destroy the 3 targets at once. He says, generates more targets. Make it such they can attack me too. System. Warning, you have not selected a class yet. Attacking targets may be too dangerous. He says, I don't care. System. Target has been generated. The settings have changed. The targets will now attack the player. He again shot his arrows and destroy 3 at once, but there is 5 targets this time. He destroys 2 remaining targets with sword. He says, more. Bring me stronger ones. System. Difficulty of targets increased. Large target summoned. He easily destroys the large target and two small targets. But there is also a range attacker. Range attackers attack the protagonist but he dodges the attack. System. Warning, these are the most dangerous target that can be spawned on this floor. He says, really? These are the strongest ones. I'll have to use my special ability. He took the staff and say, I am faster than you. He uses the attack, magic arrow, and destroy his target. He thinks, amazing. Is this the power of all-rounder trait? It's like I've been using all of these weapons for years. System. Achievement cleared. Achievement all master using at least one weapon from each weapon category in the room of choice and training. Reward. Class. All master unlocked attack stat plus 5000. He says, all master. All master was a class name. System. Would you like to select all master as your class? Exclamation mark. Warning. You cannot select the class once you leave the room of choice and training. He thinks, no, even though it's an all-master class, I can't abandon my greatest advantage. I need to choose that as my main class. If that's the case, he says, system. I'll select all-master as my subclass. System. I am unable to do that. He says, why? System. Subclass will only be unlocked after the 100th floor. He thinks, damn it. I forgot about this in the early game. If I don't select a class I can't leave this room. Although I might be a waste, should I use my accomplishment points? He says, to unlock the subclass slot. Can I do the with my accomplishment points? System. How is a beginner aware of something like that? A currency that can be obtained by completing accomplishments, accomplishment points. Uses these points allows player to make changes to the system. He says, there are no point asking how I knew that. Using 500 points to unlock a subclass slot. I assume it wouldn't be impossible. System. Is it possible, but. Accomplishment point deal. Unlock subclass slot. Points required. 5050. Current points. 5000. You do not have enough accomplishment points currently. He say, I guess I have no choice. Hey, Ball, I'll be using you. Peak of all evil, Ball, revealed his identity and talked to me. Isn't there an accomplishment for talking to the gods for the first time? System. Accomplishment. Peak of all evil, talking to the great demon, Ball. Accomplishment points plus 200. Peak OS all evil asked, did I do well? Protagonist. Stop it, I beg you don't do that ever again. System. Would you like to use your accomplishment points and select all master as your subclass? Protagonist replies, yes, I'll do that. System. Congratulations. Class. There is no class selected. Subclass. All master. You have selected all master as your subclass. You will be transported to the first floor of the tower after destroying the room of choice and training. He says, now then. Why don't I start getting my revenge? He destroys the room and we see a message. You will be transported to the first floor of the tower. First floor Coral Forest. We see a monsters and two players. One player says, how are we supposed to climb the tower if the first floor is already difficult? One of the monsters run to attack the players. Protagonist enters the floor from the sky and say, my first prey. He tackle the monster with kick. He says, a kobold, it's been a while, huh? No a kobolds. If I devour all of you, I wonder what I'll earn. Player thinks, amazing. To think he defeated the kobold in one go. On top of that, I think his class I mage. But he defeated it with a kick. Other player says, I don't know who he is, but let's fight together. If we combine our powers. Protagonist says, get lost. If you touch one of them, you'll die. Understand? They both run away from there. Protagonist says, wait, you want to avenge your comrade. One kobold run to attack the protagonist but he defeat him with his staff. Now there is only one kobold left. Protagonist says, what are you doing? You're not going to attack. Kobold tries to run away. Protagonist says, "You think I'll let you escape?" He kills Kobold with magic arrow. System. Welcome to the first floor. Protagonist says, "You're late. I already fought them. I'm looting right now." System. Clear the quest in order to proceed to the next floor. Quest description. Defeat 10 kobolds. He already defeat 3, now only 7 left. Protagonist say, "That's a piece of cake. I can easily defeat 100 right now." Ah, yeah. Since I'm doing this already. Obtaining the Slayer achievement beforehand would be good. If you kill one type of monster 1,000 times, you receive the achievement of being a Slayer. The past me went around to obtain all the Slayer achievements. Now should I fill up empty stomach? He use his skill, Gluttony. I can see it. This kobold's memories. Its strength is becoming mine. I can also understand the language of the kobolds now. My stats increased this much. It's the level of a 10th floor climber. Wait, a class adjustment. Since I'm an all master, do I get all the bonuses that come with all the classes? This memory. I need to hurry. He's getting angry. Not my child. I need to hurry and prepare. It hurts if I get hit. I've finished preparations. Kobold Lord. Kobold Lord. This timing is amazing. A Lord monster is the harbinger of a monster wave. I can get my Slayer achievement and farm at the same time. If I want to face a wave, I need an army. He uses his skill, Awake, and bring dead kobolds back. System. Congratulations. You have successfully changed classes. Class changed. Main class. Necromancer. He says, "Since I'm an all-master and I have my past life memories. Changing classes is simple, but I won't be satisfied with just this. Since there is a hidden class I need to get on a first floor." He asked one kobold what it is. He see there is more kobolds. Protagonist says, "Alright, my skeleton soldiers. Kill all the kobolds you see." System. Defeat the kobolds 10/35. He says, "It was around here. I found it." He enter the house and says, "Thankfully, no one has disturbed this. You guys wait here." He destroy the floor of the house. The hidden class on the first floor. A necromancer is a high-ranking class and is a mage that uses souls. A spirit master, and the very first spirit master hiding here. In the class-changing coffin. He opens the coffin and the skeleton comes out from the coffin. His name is Vulcan. Vulcan says, "Are you my descendant?" This is the end of the video. Subscribe the channel for more. Protagonist. Long time no see, Vulcan. Vulcan says, "You're not surprised to see me. I did my best to appear fabulously, but now it's awkward." He replies, "Should a necromancer be surprised when seeing a skeleton? Besides, I came here after reading your journal. I've already gone past the stage where I should be surprised." He thinks. A hidden item. Journal of Spirit Master Vulcan. Of course, I haven't read it in this life. During the time when I lost all my worth after changing my class of mage, I discovered the journal and came back down to the first floor. Then, when I became a spirit master, I failed trying to make Vulcan one of my summons. Vulcan says, "It's as you say. I like you. You're better than that mannerless bastard from 10 years ago." He thinks, "This skeleton bastard. Shall I destroy him? No. Let's complete my class change." He says, "I'd like to quickly change my class right now." Vulcan replies, "Sorry, first you need to go to the 10th floor. Spirit Master is a class with a higher ranker than even Necromancer. First you need to make the second class change in the class changing tower on the 10th floor, and only then." He says, "I'm already a Necromancer." He shows him his status window. Vulcan says, "Oh my gosh. You changed your class on your own without going to the 10th floor. That's amazing. What a great talent. To think that you are more prominent and skilled than that punk." He says, "Are you not going to change my class?" Vulcan replies, I just couldn't stop talking." After that we see he start changing his class. Protagonist. Spirit Master Vulcan. A long time ago, Before the tower appeared on Earth, he was the climber who ruled over it. Although he was the strongest necromancer, he kept looking for ways to become even more powerful. Summons that are made of skin and bones aren't enough. Isn't there a stronger summon? Instead of a lich or a death knight, he wanted to summon something completely different. Yes, this is it. A soul. I'm going to call for the souls of the dead. With this, I'll be able to create a new summon that will surpass the existing ones. After a long time, he succeeded and created a new class, Spirit Master. However, his old body reached its limit, and the Spirit Master class also ended up on the brink of disappearance. So, he chose his last resort, which was to use necromancy on himself, hoping that his descendant would reclaim his honor. So in order for Vulcan to find a climber to follow in his footsteps, he became someone who was half an NPC. Vulcan says, "The punk that I mentioned before was the second. And now you are the third, Spirit Master. Us the Soul Crucible, to capture souls. And in turn, you'll become able to call you summons." Protagonist thinks, "Yeah, thanks. With the Soul Crucible you gave me, my first capture will be you, Vulcan. I've already finished preparations. I won't fail twice." Vulcan says, "Congratulations, my descendant. Now climb the tower and spread my name." He replies, "About that. Do it yourself, Vulcan." Vulcan says, "What, you bastard? Did you forget the promise written in the journal?" Protagonist says, "Pushing your work into someone else is a bad habit. I'm gonna fix it though, and I'll even do that for free." Vulcan says, "Wait, why are you getting closer?" No way. He uses the attack called Soul Collect. He is about to capture his soul. Vulcan says, "Do you think I'll let you capture me?" Protagonist, "I did it." Vulcan says, "This is offensive on Earth, right? The former descendant taught me. See ya in hell." He can't go out from there due to the magic. Protagonist says, "What do you think? It's quite comfortable, right? Utilizing the magic wall, which is a low-class spell. I created a personal prison for you." Vulcan says, "Do you think you'll be safe if you do this? I can break this low-class magic anytime." Protagonist, "Did I say this was the only thing? On the way here, I scattered lots of kobold mana stones. I cast magic to make them trigger like just now. As you said, you can break them easily. But can you do that before I capture you?" Vulcan thinks, "Who is he? How can a first-floor climber have such skill and tactics?" Protagonist says, "I failed in my previous life. But I can finally capture you, Vulcan." Vulcan thinks, "Previous life? No way." He says, "Am I still the second Spirit Master? Or should I be deemed as the third?" After saying that he collect his soul, Protagonist says, "Don't be too upset, Vulcan. Now that you're with me, everything you've wanted will come true." After that we see so many skeletons standing in front of him. He says, "Gods and demons cannot enter the room of class change. I'll show you soon enough if you don't pester me, so just wait." He thinks, I guess I don't need skeleton soldiers anymore." He says, "Shatter," and awake. We see souls coming out of him. He says, "I guess they can't seek either." Someone says, "Cha Jinhyuk, you bastard." He is Vulcan. He says, "How dare you? How dare you use me, Vulcan, as your spirit soldier?" Jae In-hyuk says, "This is the first time seeing you in that form. You must have been pretty handsome when you were young." Vulcan says, "I won't leave you be, Jinhyuk. If you underestimate me, the first Spirit Master." Protagonist says, "Don't overdo it. You're a live cause of my mana. If I cut you off, you're going to dissipate immediately." Vulcan, "Do you think I will obey like a dog?" Protagonist, "What choice do you have? What did you do with your familiars that didn't obey you? You transformed them into soul orbs and absorbed them. Also, I hope you haven't forgotten what my trait is." Vulcan thinks, "Gluttony, does he still possess that insane skill? If I don't obey him, He's going to swallow me whole. Vulcan says, fine. What are you going to do now? Protagonist replies, can't you sense that? We gotta take that bastard down. The Kobold Lord. We see a castle. There are 2 kobolds guarding the castle. We see the protagonist going toward the castle. Both kobold run to attack the protagonist. But he kills both of them with his spirits. Many kobolds run to attack the protagonist. He thinks, 30 kobold spirit soldiers. Kobolds are no longer match for me. Besides, I just won't just sit idly by in this life. He says, bring me to your lord. You scum. We see the kobold's lord. He say, an intruder. Prepare the offerings quickly. There are so many kobolds coming from everywhere. But kobolds are no match for protagonist, because he has many spirits. After defeating so many kobolds with the help of his spirits, he say, a hidden class is pretty great. He senses someone's aura. He thinks, it's close. The room where the kobold lord is. System. The peak of all evil is rooting for you with light batons. Protagonist says, I don't need cheering from an old man with hairy legs. I'm going to win anyways. We see the kobold lord hitting someone with his knife. He says, more. It's not enough until they are satisfied. Glory to the death-observing demon. Someone says, let go. Let go of me, I said. Kobold lord says, oh, is that the next offering? Huh, that is. A Dokubi. Ho ho ho. What we have here. You are going to be much better offering than humans. We see protagonist standing in front of Kobold Lord. Kobold Lord says, it was you. The intruder bastard. Protagonist says, what do we have here? A human sacrifice. A summoning. Well, whither way, it's irrelevant. Since you're going to fail. Protagonist says, you must be the Kobold Lord. You look exactly like the scum leader you are. I am Callum, the king of all kobolds. Show some respect, human. Protagonist. You're way too arrogant for a first-class monster. Why don't you make me? Dokubi thinks, I don't know what's going on. But the Kobold Lord is distracted by that human. This is my chance. She tries to run from there. Kobold Lord says, how dare you run away, offering. Kobold Lord says, death-observing demon. Give me strength. Protagonist thinks, death-observing demon. Kobold Lord uses the attack called Corpse Spear. She is about to get hit by the Kobold Lord attack. She thinks, I can't die here. Protagonist run, block the attack and save the girl. Kobold Lord. My attack. He just kicked it away. She says, thank you. Protagonist. Never mid, you get out of here. Wait a minute. Those horns, are you a Dokubi? Protagonist thinks, Dokubi are a powerful species that lives on the 100th floor. There's no reason for them to descend below that level. Especially for an individual that hasn't even reached adulthood. Has something happened on the 100th floor? I should save her to get some information later. Kobold Lord says, how dare you interfere with my offering to them? Protagonist says, if you want to live, go hide somewhere. I won't save you twice. She says, ah, okay. Kobold Lord. Why don't you try and block this too? If it's a fresh corpse, it will be twice as powerful. Corpse Bomb. He easily dodges the attack and say, too slow. Your mana control is too poor. Protagonist hit the Kobold Lord on his face. Kobold Lord thinks, how? How can a first floor climber have such strength? Protagonist. What are you doing? We are just starting. Kobold Lord say, death-observing demon. Redeem me. After that we see something catches the hand of the protagonist. That's a blood golem. How did that bastard summon such a high-level familiar? Blood golem hit the protagonist on the floor. Kobold Lord. Haha. Do you like that? Do you see? This is my strongest seance. Protagonist. Seance. Protagonist is angry. He says, do you have an idea? Who are you speaking to right now? Let me show you what a seance is. He destroyed the seance with his spirits. Kobold Lord. He destroyed my golem in the blink of an eye. Protagonist says, even if you are a lord monster. Blood golem aren't something a kobold can create. That was your doing, right? Death-observing demon. Bune. System. The death-observing demon nods as silence. The peak of all evil gives somebody a nasty glare. Protagonist. Since you were curious about my power as a spirit master, you summoned Blood Golem when you saw that I was fighting with one of your believers. And you were just a toy that was played with. Your mana is depleted now, right? Since Bune forcibly summoned the golem, it couldn't be helped. Kobold Lord. There's no way. He will find you. He will avenge me even if I die. Protagonist. Please make sure he does. I have a lot to tell him after all. Protagonist spirit attacks the Kobold Lord. Kobold Lord says, let go of me. I am your king. Do you not remember? Death-observing demon. Protagonist. Bune, this is the end for your toy. It's your fault for testing me, so don't complain. On top of that, I will make sure you pay for trying to test me in the first place. System. The death-observing demon laughs heartily, saying he lover it. Protagonist kill the Kobold Lord. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for more. We see the protagonist ask the Kobold Lord, hey, are you dead? Kobold Lord's spirit coming out from his body. Protagonist says, stop. Where do you think you are going? I'm sorry, but you still have a job to do. Soul orb production is one of the basic skills of a necromancer. A skill that allows the user to collect souls and create medicine that can be used. Now then, thank you for the meal. We see his stats increases. He thinks, it wasn't good as I thought it'd be. This won't mean anything once I pass the 50th floor. Dokubi says, thank you for saving me. My name is Haru. Protagonist says, don't worry, I just happened to be here since I needed to take care of the Kobold Lord. She says, I'd still like to thank you for saving my life. Protagonist says, what would you do if I was a bad guy though? I could kill or sell a Dokubi like you. She replies, if that happened, then I'd handle it. He thinks, when it comes to favors and revenge, they make sure to pay back their dues. That's just like a Dokubi. The same question for me. Why is someone that should be on the 100th floor like you in a place like this? She says, well, someone attacks the Dokubi village on the 100th floor. Dokubi is a pretty strong species. Even as a climber, it wouldn't be easy to bother them like that. Don't tell me, was it one of the 4 great species? The colossuses of strength, giants. The essence of magic, dragons. The masters of demonic energy, demons. The wings of retribution, angels. The 4 greatest species within the tower control everything. They would have to be part of the 4 great species to bother Dokubi with such disregard. Or at the very least, someone that has one of their supporters. Or maybe Ninastar. It could be someone that has relations to their guild. Those bastards. Haru says, are you okay? Protagonist. It's nothing, I'll be leaving now. She says, where? Protagonist. Do you intend to stay here, surrounded by pools of blood? She replies, if it's fine. I would like to come with you. Protagonist thinks, Dokubi, although she's still young, it wouldn't be a bad idea to let her join my party. I'll be busy. I won't be able to protect you like this. She says, I can take care of myself. You were almost killed by the Kobold Lord. She says, that's because I let my guard down. Protagonist. Fine, you can come with me. I guess I'll need to get some new clothes. It'll be a hassle if I garner attention with these blood-stained clothes. We see something appear on top of the Kobold Lord. Protagonist. An equipment item. After that, they both go outside of the castle. We see a Vulcan appears in front of them. He says, it's done, there are no kobolds within the castle. Protagonist. All right, good work, Vulcan. Vulcan says, who's this young one? Don't tell me, you can see me. She replies, yes, a few Dokubi have a high affinity with souls. Protagonist thinks, so you're telling me that you're a special Dokubi. Maybe I could use gluttony and absorb her ability. No, not yet. It'll be easier to keep her by my side and train her for the time being. We see a message saying, Monster Wave Quest. Defeating a Lord Monster can cause a monster wave. Exclamation mark. Warning. Accepting the quest will disable all safe zones on the first floor. Protagonist. Bingo. Vulcan. Monster Wave. Are you? Don't tell me you're going to accept it. Protagonist. If I wasn't going to, there would have been no point in coming all the way here to defeat a kobold lord. System. Peak of all evil, thinks this is reckless. Death Observing Demon. Will give you a reward if you rank first in contribution. Protagonist. Do you tell me that he's trying to make it even with this? Alright, I'll make my decision after I see the reward. Vulcan. I can't believe you. Do you want to die? Protagonist. I know you'd prefer if I die since you'd be free. No, you'll still be my servants even after my death. He clicks yes and starts the wave. Warning. Monster wave occurrence. Someone has accepted a monster wave. Kobolds will now attack the village entrance. In a few moments, all safety zone on the first floor will be disabled. Everyone in the forest saying, damn it, what is this? A monster wave. Who's the bastard that accepted the monster wave? Damn it. If the wave comes, we'll all die. If you've cleared the quest, hurry pee and move to the second floor. Once the wave starts, you won't be able to leave even if you want to. Let go. One person says, I still have 3 left. Help me. We see a big portal appear in the forest. And kobolds start spawning from the portals. Everyone saying, it's too late. It's already started. There are too many. We see the protagonist appear in front of them. He says, if anyone even touches a single one of them, I'll slaughter the lot of you. Everyone saying, who are you guys? It's too dangerous. Don't you see the kobolds in front of you? Protagonist says, arise, and summon the spirits from his body. One person says, a necromancer. But this is the first floor, how did he get a class? Spirits and kobolds start fighting. Haryu says, can is also, try for Slayer. He says, you better hurry. I don't think the spirit soldiers are gonna leave you any. She says, don't worry. I have an idea. She starts doing something. Protagonist thinks, a pocket plane. We see a sword start coming out from the pocket plane. After getting the sword, she starts killing kobolds. Protagonist thinks, that sword. It's definitely not an ordinary one. And a young Dokubi, who handles it with ease. Was the invader's target, her perhaps? Someone says, hey you. Who are you to control the wave? Protagonist asks the same question to him, who are you? He replies, I'm Kim Sungtae. Have you heard of the White Swallow Guild? That famous Ninastar Pelin siblings, Holy Land Guild. The White Swallow is their subsidiary guild. After hearing the name Ninastar, protagonist gets angry and says, what the hell did you just say? The Pelin siblings. Kim says, my older brother is in the White Swallow. We're gonna join, too, once we reach the 10th floor. I saw that you have pretty good skills. If I talk to my brother, I can also let you. We see one spirit behind Kim. Protagonist says, sorry, but no. Great timing. I needed some information about them. Let's see you once the wave's over. I've some questions for you. Another player says, why are you getting in our way when we're just fellow climbers? You're threatening people just because you're a bit strong. How could you do this? Protagonist says, why not? Isn't it obvious? You cannot hit others. You cannot kill others. You cannot steal from others. They are all valid on Earth. In the tower, strength is all that matters. Kim says, let me go now. Protagonist. Listen closely. You're not alive. I just spared you because I need information. Stay far from me instead of blabbering and making me want to kill you. The other 2 players ask Kim, what are you gonna do? Are you really not gonna do anything? Kim replies, I said, let's run away. We might die if that bastard catches us again. After that we see spirits and kobolds fighting. Vulcan and protagonist also join the fight. Vulcan. There are so many of them. Protagonist. I'm gonna fight, so you control, Vulcan. Vulcan. You're so bossy. They both say, arise. And summon skeletons from the ground. Now skeletons and spirits are fighting with kobolds. Protagonist says, change whatever you kill into a skeleton. Vulcan replies, you don't need to tell me that. Then. Let's play. Now protagonist starts killing kobolds. We see Haru fighting with kobolds. She says, there are way too many of them. One kobold attack her from behind. She says, something like this. Compared to the pain I experienced while my village was burning. This is nothing. She is tired and says, this is my limit. She sees the protagonist fighting with cold without any problem. She says, amazing. He's merely a first-floor climber. How is a human able to be so strong like that? I need to follow that human and climb the tower. That way, I can get revenge for my village. One kobold is about to attack her. But Vulcan saves her by killing that kobold. He says, are you alright, Dokubi child? She says, old man. I can do this on my own. He thinks, this young one is full of resolve. What did she go through? She says, why did you help me? While I was running away from the 100th floor. Nobody tried to help me. I was just glad that nobody tried to harm me. Are you helping me because you want something? He replies, I don't know. Spirit soldiers must obey the orders of the spirit master. That's all there is to it. She says, then, Cha Jinhyuk, it was under his orders. He told me to make sure I didn't die and to make certain I accomplished my goal. He says, I'm leaving now. If I don't assist him more, he'll start berating me for not working hard enough. She thinks, Cha Jinhyuk, within this tower, you're the only one who helped me. This favor that you gave me, I'll make sure I pay back this debt. We see some kind of mask appear on her hand. She wears that mask and looks like she becomes stronger after wearing that mask. Vulcan and the protagonist wonder what happened. Protagonist says, is that? After that, she starts killing kobolds with her strength and speed. Now she's able to kill kobolds easily without any problems. Protagonist thinks, I knew it. The ones that attacked her village were aiming for Haru and that sword. It'd be better if I kept this a secret. If she knew that she was the reason why her village was attacked. Message. 1 minute until the end of the wave. Cha Jinhyuk. The wave gate is getting smaller. That one must be the last. Protagonist kills the last kobold, and after that portal disappears. Message. Wave over. Congratulations, you have successfully stopped the wave. He says, of course, I did. Vulcan says, you really are a monster. Haru says, it's finally over. She is about to fall down but protagonist catches her. He says, are you okay? That wasn't a skill that you should use while you're exhausted. She replies, thank you. We see a message saying, wave clear. A reward for first, second, and third in contribution. Protagonist says, perfect. Why don't we get paid? We see a message saying, defeated 2,500 plus. Accomplishment. Kobold Slayer, all stats plus 5 accomplishment points 500. Protagonist thinks, all stats increased by 5. Although it doesn't look like much. Accomplishment points will go toward all stats. If I learn various skills using all master and gluttony, then this number will increase endlessly. I'm looking forward to it. Message. You contributed the most during the wave. First, Cha Jinhyuk. Second, Haru. Third, Vulcan. Vulcan says, me. Why me? Protagonist says, you too. That's good. Bring it to me. Vulcan replies, well, it'll be hard to use as a spirit soldier anyway. Haru says, please take mine, too. As a symbol of our future together. Protagonist says, yours too. Sorry, but I already get betrayed before. I said you can come with me, but I don't trust you. And the reward for second place in the wave is too big for me to take without doubting you. I don't want to be betrayed again. Make me trust you. Otherwise, I don't want you to accompany me. She starts doing something. Vulcan says, Cha Jinhyuk. Is that? Again we see that mask. She says, take this with it. I'll give you my Dokkaebi mask too. Vulcan. You're gonna give an outsider your mask? No way. Protagonist thinks, a Dokkaebi mask is basically a Dokkaebi's power essence. They it to their once-in-a-lifetime partner when proposing. He says, why, are you giving it to me? She replies, it's the price for saving my life twice. And proof that I won't betray you. He says, but this mask is worth more than that. I feel like there must be another purpose. She says, revenge. I didn't tell you the details, but my village was burned down. I tried to look for survivors, but I couldn't find any. I'm probably the last Dokkaebi. As the last surviving Dokkaebi, I need to avenge my dead kind. So please, let me climb the tower with you. He thinks, revenge. She's like me. He says, you're dead if you betray me. I don't care if I have this mask. Don't think of it as your lifeline or anything. She replies, okay, I'm excited to climb with you. Orabeoni. He says, whatever, just call me whatever you want. We see the items. Number 1. Mana Ring. Mana plus 5, mana consumption decrease plus 10%. Number 2. Mana Earring. Mana plus 5, mana consumption decrease plus 15%. Number 3. Mana Necklace. Mana plus 5, mana consumption decrease plus 20%. Vulcan. Those are good. Protagonist. It's perfect for necromancers who use mana to maintain armies. I'll let him increase the quality and quantity of summons by 45%. Hey, how long are you gonna stay quiet? Bune. Do you think I've forgotten your promise to reward me? Death Observing Demon suggests you to go somewhere else. They go inside the town. Vulcan. The town's empty. Protagonist says, they probably evacuated to the second floor or the forest because of the wave. This is good enough, right? Now spit it out. We see a ring appear in front of the protagonist. He thinks, a ring. Seem like I'm really lucky with the item today. Let's see. Wait, this ring, it's got demonic energy. Vulcan is shocked. He says, demonic energy. Are you serious, Cha Jinhyuk? Demonic energy. A preserve of the demons. Dark Force Ring. Rank, unknown. You can use demonic energy when the ring is equipped, albeit with restrictions. Demonic energy. Plus 10. Can be raised with either titles or items. A power that can be considered a high-class resource of mana. Usually, in order to obtain demonic energy, you have to become the slave of the demons for it to be granted to little by little. The difference between having even one to use and none is big. We see his status window. Now with other stats and skills. There is also a demonic energy stat. Death Observing Demon offers a handshake. He says, all right for an item this great. I can forget about your pranks. Vulcan. Seems like you're ready to climb the tower. Peak of all evil is burning up with jealousy. The peak of all evil is mad. Peak of all evil asks for a handshake. Peak of all evil sticks his hand out and flaps it around. Protagonist. Without giving me anything. You can bring me a gift too if want a handshake. Vulcan says, are you trying to rip off a demon right now? You're definitely out of your mind. Peak of all evil is restless. He looked through his closet, drawers, under his bed. Protagonist says, enough. Peak of all evil is thinking. Peak of all evil says he will create a quest. Protagonist. What a quest? Are you serious? Vulcan says, a quest from a demon. This is our chance. Protagonist says, I'm kinda surprised about this too. Alright, I'll do you a favor and accept your offer. Peak of all evil is mumbling, saying, this isn't what I intended. Protagonist. Don't do it if you don't want to. Peak of all evil claims that it's too late since they already made a deal. Less than Ball's quest greater than. The peak of all evil, Ball is giving you a quest. Quest condition. Make yourself known throughout the tower before you reach the 100th floor. Penalty when failed. You must start training to become an apostle of Ball. Reward if succeeded. Ball will provide a recipe for anything you want. Contract fee. Shake hands with Ball. Protagonist. A recipe for anything I want. With a demon's recipe, the sky's the limit. The condition is pretty tough though. If I fail I become his apostle. No, even if that's the case, I can't lose this chance. Alright, Ball, I accept your quest. Peak of all evil. Smiling he shakes your hand. Vulcan. What are you going to do? Haryu. Are you going to the second floor? Protagonist replies, no, that bastard named Kim Sungtae. We'll catch him and extract information. That's why, Vulcan, I need you to go and capture him. Vulcan says, do you know where he is? Protagonist replies, I put a spirit soldier on him. Although he's pretty far away, I'm certain he's still on the first floor. Vulcan. Damn it, you should have told me that first. I'll be on my way. Protagonist asks Haryu, why don't we talk while we walk? Protagonist says, this mask, I want you to tell me more about it. She says, to put it short, this mask allows the user to use their Dokkaebi abilities. Protagonist. Aren't the abilities of Dokkaebi related to charms and supernatural power? She replies, yes, you're right. For me, I can use my supernatural powers and use the ability of foresight to look into the future. Protagonist. Foresight, that's a little unfortunate. If you were to get an ability, it would have been nice if it helped in battle. What are you staring at me for? She says, nothing, I just think you're a little odd. People from outside the village used to travel for days to have us use this ability. They all came to ask the elders that reigned this ability to look into the future. Most of them were worried about what could happen in the future, and did whatever they could to avoid their fate. Protagonist. Is there a need to avoid it? If there's anything to worry about, can't I just break through it? She says, that's a relief, I think my ability will suit you pretty well. My ability is Battle Foresight, it's an ability specialized for battle. How is that? I'm useful, aren't I? He hugs her and says, that's perfect. I'm glad that it's you know. You're the best. Sword Star, Bow Star, the Great Thief, the Godly Spear. When it comes to the N-Inastar specializing in combat, I might have a chance if we fought. We see the message, peak of all evil, is taking photos. Protagonist. Ball, you stalker. Get out of here. Sorry. She replies, no, I'm glad that I can help. Protagonist. Anyways, oh. Make sure you get this mosque's worth. It'll help to get your revenge. She says, thank you. Once again, I hope the best for both of us. We see Vulcan already catch the Kim. Vulcan says, stop struggling. Your friends all left you and run away. Just wait until my master arrives. Do you know how hard it is to hold you like this without killing you? Where the hell is that bastard right now? Jinhyuk arrives and says, oh, you managed to catch him. Vulcan asks, where have you been? Do you understand how hard it was to keep him still? Protagonist says, oh, you tried to run away. Vulcan, get out of the way. Now, I'll give you your sword back. But where do you want me to put it? Where I put it, in your hands or in your stomach? It all depends on how you answer my questions. You're going to tell me everything you know about the White Swallow Guild. Start. He says, starting. They don't show us what he asks from him. Protagonist says, now then, I'll be taking my leave. Alright, go ahead. Vulcan says, you're letting him go. Protagonist replies, I'm going to his guild to destroy it anyways. But what about the Holy Kingdom affiliated guilds? A lot of small guilds are probably working with them. Between the 10th and 200th floors, there are a lot of small guilds. If I want to crush all of them, Vulcan says, it'd definitely get pretty boring. Protagonist. However, it could work in our favor. Haryu says, are you talking about Ball's quest? Protagonist. Yeah, if I can crush guilds influenced by the Pelin siblings. That would give me a good chance to clear the quest too. Now then, Why don't we start heading to the 10th floor? They enter the 2nd floor, safety zone. Everyone saying, you're telling me that those people are the ones that cleared the wave? Yeah, and it was only the 2 of them. Huh, I heard there were 3 of them. Look, there. Here they come. What is that? A ghost mask. You're the one that cleared the wave. Do you have a guild? Name. Tell us your name. He thinks. The name Cha Jinhyuk. I can't reveal my name yet. My name is a ghost face. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for more. The person who asks the name after knowing the name, he says, what? Hey, wait, you need to explain to us. Another person says, wait, what if he committed a crime before he came to the tower? I've heard plenty of cases where people on Earth come hiding inside the tower. Protagonist thinks, hiding your face or identity within the tower is common. I'm sure I have their attention with the news about the wave and the mask. Let's go, Vulcan. There's plenty we need to do. Vulcan replies, understood. They disappear from there. After that, we see a message saying, welcome to the 2nd floor. Please complete the following quest to proceed to the next floor. Defeat 10 kobolds. Defeat 10 kobold warriors. Protagonist. Looks like it's nothing we can't handle. Now then, Vulcan, could you take care of the quest? He replies, don't tell me. You want me to bring those things alive to you. Protagonist says, if you can, bring Haryu too. I need to experiment with demonic energy. Come back quickly if you want to watch it. Vulcan replies, damn you. You better not use all your demonic energy before I come back. Haryu asks, is it okay to clear a quest like this? Protagonist replies, if you don't like it, you can go get them yourself. I'm not forcing you to do this. He thinks, isn't this exciting? To think I'd be able to use demonic energy like this. Let's see how well this works. From one of the 4 great species, the power of demons. We see some kind of purple thing appear in front of him. He thinks, so this is demonic energy. Haryu. She sees the kobold and says, over there in the bush. There's a kobold. Kobold runs to attack. Protagonist says, this is perfect. Why don't we test this out on you? Go. Demonic exposure. Kobold dodges his attack. Haryu. He dodged it. Protagonist. No, it's an attack that doesn't need to make an impact. We see Kobold's body is breaking. Haryu. What's going on? Protagonist. Demonic energy is savage power. Those who are unqualified for it can't handle it. This is what happens to them. Even if it just grazes them. This is the important part. If I imbue demonic energy into a spirit soldier, a stronger soldier spirit is born. Damn it. The soul just collapsed. Looks like the soul can't handle the demonic energy either. I need to reduce the density of demonic energy. I'll reduce it from 10 to just 1 demonic energy. Perfect. It's complete. We see more dangerous and stronger spirit soldiers born. Hatyu. You did it. It seemed pretty difficult. Protagonist. I was surprised by how easy it was. Since there aren't many people that can handle pure demonic energy other than demons. I'm sure no one knows how simple it was to use it. Vulcan arrived there, and he says, was that formed with demonic energy? Amazing. Looks like it's perfectly fused. A spirit soldier with demonic energy. You can call it a demon soul soldier. Protagonist. A demon soul soldier, not too bad. Vulcan replies, it's perfect considering you're my student. Protagonist thinks, does that mean that whenever I capture a soul, I need to imbue it with demonic energy? This is going to be difficult to use on the field. Wait, is there a need for me to summon them myself? Vulca. When it comes to summoning, you're more proficient than I am. Your ability to command and position summons during battle is excellent too. Vulca says, looks like you're finally respecting your teacher. After that, we see he starts doing the same thing with Vulcan that he did with the spirit. Vulcan says, what are you doing? Protagonist replies, if I imbue demonic energy into your soul, Won't the spirit soldiers that you summon automatically become demon soul soldiers? Oh, since your soul is stronger than a kobold soul, I'll be using all the demonic energy that I have. We see he uses all his demonic energy on Vulcan. Vulcan says, if I make it through this, I'll grind you up and drink you for breakfast. Protagonist says, be my guest. If you become strong enough to challenge me, I'll welcome it. We see that Vulcan now has demon energy imbued with him. Protagonist says, my greatest demon soul soldier. Are you, Vulcan? Vulcan says, you made a mistake. For making a summon stronger than you. That was your greatest mistake as a necromancer. Protagonist. Are you angry? Good. I was in need of an opponent who could match me with the mask on anyways. Vulcan says, just as you wanted. I'll show you the demon soul soldiers that I can call upon. He starts summoning demon soul soldiers. Go, my demon soul soldiers. Haryu thinks. He used the power of the mask. Protagonist thinks. The demon soul soldiers, they're slower. This is the world that Haryu is able to see. He kills all the demon soul soldiers with his fast speed. He says, although I might be like this now, I used to be called the Death Star. He hit the Vulcan in the face. He says, calm down and follow my orders. Demon soul soldier, Haryu. Old man. Protagonist says, don't worry. Souls like him won't die from physical attacks like that. Vulcan says, that only applies to normal people. It hurts when you punch me. She says, did you just use the mask power? Protagonist replies, yeah, it felt like everything was slower than me. It was like I became the greatest martial artist for a moment. Haryu replies, about that phenomenon. I think it was just a side effect of the skill failing. Protagonist. Side effect. If that was a side effect, then what is the mask supposed to do? She replies, I told you that it serves as battle foresight, right? Not only should the enemies seem slower, but you should have been able to see their future actions too. Protagonist says, no way, how am I supposed to reach that point then? She says, if you ask me, I kinda just do it. He thinks, she just does it. I forgot. She must be considered a genius among the Dokubis. Even if I asked her to teach me, it would be difficult for her. She asks, do you happen to feel dizzy or anything? He replies, I'm fine. Why? She says, if an untrained Dokubi were to try using a special ability, most of them would experience things like headaches and dizziness. That applies to me too. I can't use foresight whenever I want. I was worried since you weren't able to activate the skill. He says, wow, you keep hitting the places where it hurts. She says, that's now what I meant. I'm sure you will be able to use it soon. He thinks, I miscalculated. It felt like everything was going in my way. I was too excited about becoming unbelievably strong on the second floor. I think I'm fine now. Thanks. Vulcan thinks, the greatest spirit master. How did I get to this point? Haryu says to Vulcan, seems like we need you to bring back more kobolds. Since we need one more, he'd better bring one before I turn his soul into a spirit orb and eat it. That was what he said. Vulcan thinks, how did this happen to me? System. Quest complete. They defeat the 10 kobolds and also defeat the 10 kobold warriors. The 3rd floor cleared. The 4th floor cleared. 5th floor. People saying, hey, you heard the rumors about that guy who calls himself Ghostface. Yeah. Looks like it's been 3 days since he entered the forest on the 5th floor. Looks like kobolds were all he could handle. From the 5th floor onwards, goblins that can use strong poison needles will start to spawn. We see the protagonist and Vulcan killing goblins in the forest. Vulcan says, you did well stopping it, Haryu. She says, he tried to attack you. I should have cut him down myself. Vulcan says, Haryu, you. Wait. Something seems off. That cruel smile of hers. What the hell is that? Haryu, are you okay? She says, yes, yes. She thinks, What's going on? Why am I holding a sword and laughing? Protagonist. You've waited a long time. I have just finished preparing. Tonight, there will be a monster wave. 4th floor. The night before they entered the 5th floor. Protagonist says, from the 5th floor onwards, there'll be goblins instead of kobolds. And we'll also have to obtain the Goblin Slayer achievement. She says, will you hunt the Lord Monster again? Vulcan. You can't hunt it just you want to. No one knows when it'll appear and on which floor. Protagonist. I'm going to hunt the Goblin Lord. No, is there even a need to hunt it? I know the method. To manually create a wave. Vulcan. If a method like that existed, a rumor would have spread within the tower. Protagonist. I found out about it by chance. Was it on the edge of the 3rd or 400th floor? A crack appeared while I was climbing the tower. I discovered it then. On every floor, there is a central area that spawns monsters. If you find it and keep channeling your mana into it, it produces monsters similar to that of a monster wave. Vulcan says, you must have received some benefits from it, without others knowing. He says, no, it's my first time trying it. The monsters on the 300th floor and above are on a different scale as compared to goblins. Even if I were the 4 great species, it'd be impossible just to stop the monsters head on when a wave occurs. Vulcan. When it was possible to exploit it, you didn't know, but when you found out about it you couldn't exploit it. Protagonist. Yes, however, but it's different now. We're going to create as many waves as possible to get stronger faster. In the town, there are so many people. What? An earthquake. It's happening inside the tower though. Look over there. Again we see the same portal that spawns monsters. Goblins are pouring out from the portal. Everyone saying, impossible, it's a wave. Why is it inside the village? There wasn't any notification. Goblins start attacking everyone. Due to their poison, they can't move their body. It's the goblin's paralytic poison. He won't be able to move for a while. Shit, they're right in front of us. This is the end. I couldn't even get to the 10th floor. To think I would die here. Someone appears in front of them. He says, the uninjured guy should take the poisoned guy to a safe place. This person is Protagonist. Everyone saying, Ghostface has appeared. A person who experienced a wave before. We're saved. Protagonist thinks, yeah, I'll save you or whatever. Survive and spread rumors about me. Awaken and fight. My demon soul soldiers. Vulcan says, I was the one who created the demon soul soldiers. Why are you taking credits? He replies, stop nagging and make more soldiers. We see the demon soul soldier burning. A new type of goblin appears, a psychic goblin. He can attack the soul soldiers. Protagonist. I can see that even without you saying it. If we don't get rid of him first, it'd be impossible to raid. Haryu arrives and kills the psychic goblin. Protagonist. Gluttony. To think this fire would be able to affect a soul. It's a waste to use this technique on goblins. I'll use it well. Soul fire. Well done, Haryu. As you did with the goblin psychic, keep it up. Haryu again has a cruel smile on her face. Protagonist. Haryu. Her sword is exuding light. I knew it wasn't an ordinary item, but what the hell is this? We see some kind of armor appears on her body. After that, she attacks the protagonist. Her attack is so strong. We see buildings cut in half due to her attack. Protagonist thinks, she managed to instantly destroy the village. What the hell is that sword? She again attacks the protagonist, but he dodges the attack. He says, Hatyu, it's me, Cha Jinhyuk. Do you not recognize me? She again attacks the protagonist. He barely holds the attack. He thinks, wait, she's so strong. Vulcan appears on the scene. He asks protagonist, hey, are you alive? Is Haryu okay? This telepathy Vulcan. Seems like you're alive. Is Haryu okay? Protagonist says, sorry, I was in the midst of being blown away by Haryu's slash. No matter how I look at it, it feels like I'm facing the final vanguard that the Dokubis left behind. Vulcan says, What's about the wave? Protagonist. Most of the monster died earlier. You take care of the rest. Right now, I need to take care of the Haryu. Protagonist run to attack her. He uses battle foresight. The intuition I nurtured while climbing 599 floors is telling me. That sword is dangerous, it'll cut me into pieces. There are no eternal friends or enemies in the tower. Although your story is unfortunate, this is the end. I'm sorry Haryu. He is about to attack but she stops his attack with her bare hands. He thinks, this, don't tell me. Haryu's battle foresight. She attacks him with her sword. He says, awake, and summon the skeletons from the ground. Those who are sleeping amidst the rubbles. The wave goblins. Go, my skeleton goblin soldiers. Stop Haryu. She uses her battle foresight again. And destroy all skeletons. He thinks, I didn't even see the slicing of skeleton soldiers. Did she use her battle foresight? She's too strong. How do I win against someone like that? She attacks him again. He thinks something seems off. Is she tired or something? No, she is bleeding from her eyes. There's something wrong with her. Is that the rebound that Haryu talking about? If that's the case, I have a chance. I just have to make she can't use her battle foresight anymore. He says, what are you doing? Are you not gonna come at me? She is about to attack him. Protagonist says, awake. Goblin zombies. The goblin's paralytic poison will be lethal when hit, even for Dokubi. I don't think you'd be able to dodge it without your battle foresight though. She uses battle foresight again. And kill both goblins. She is so close to attacking the protagonist but he dodges the attack. Again she is about to attack the protagonist but we see something coming toward her. This is the paralytic poison. Protagonist says, without the rebound from using battle foresight, this would have been an impossible plan. The plan to shoot you with a poison dart through me from your blind spot. She is about to fall down but protagonist catches her. He says, barely got her. The feeling in my hand sleeping away. Is the paralytic poison kicking in? Hey, zombie, bring that thing to me. That poison dart. He absorbed the poison from that dart. Message. You have obtained paralytic poison tolerance. Haryu, you have a really annoying problem to deal with. We see Haryu and her sword in front of her. She says, my sword, where am I? Someone says, are you the owner this time? The owner of this Dragon Slayer sword. What? You are just a kid. She asks him, who are you? A Dokubi. He replies, well, you're half wrong, and half right. She asks, what do you mean? He replies, kid, Lemmy warns you about something. The next time you unsheathe me without preparing, I'll devour you. We see she wakes up. She asks them, where are we? He replies, the village on the 6th floor. We just got here from the 5th floor. She says, why are you carrying me? He says, don't you remember about that? Upsetting. I'll explain it to you. After checking over our equipments and stamina here on the 6th floor. We're gonna move straight onto the 10th floor. Within the tower, a big city is located on every 10 floors. In order to enter the city, you need to fight a boss monster. She says, I know the Great Orc Warrior. Vulcan says, solely considering its battle power, it's basically a lord monster. She says, then as soon as we're healed, we're all gonna go. Protagonist. No, from now on, you're gonna move independently from us. She says, what do you mean? Are abandoning me? Protagonist. Number. You don't remember what happened on the 5th floor during the wave, right? She says, yeah, my memories end at a certain point. Your sword is a demon sword. It has a skill that's comparable to the ego sword. It eats away your mind while giving you incredible powers instead. You attacked me after losing your reason. If you depend on an unstable power like that, you'll break down before we reach the 100th floor. So this is your homework. Without depending on that sword's power, climb up to the 10th floor on your own. She thinks, you mean, I have to become stronger. Instead of depending on this unstable power. Alright, I'll definitely become strong enough to become your worthy teammate. He says, alright. She says, thanks for the robe. Protagonist replies, there's no need to advertise the fact that you are a Dokubi when you're journeying alone. There's no need to rush. I have some matters to attend on the 10th floor, so I'll be there for a while. Vulcan says, how sad. She says, I will catch up to you soon. He says, alright, I will be waiting. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for more videos like this. A few days later, 9th floor. You're just big. You're no different from a goblin. Get lost. He kills the orc. Vulcan says, looks like you're getting the hang of it. Protagonist. Don't forget to extract their soul. We need demon soul soldiers. Looks like creating waves is just part of our natural routine. What? Are you complaining? Vulcan says, no, I'm actually enjoying it. I can't believe how cold you are. You've never once mentioned anything about Haru. He replies, what are you talking about? I wouldn't have accepted her as an ally if I thought she'd fail. She's strong. She'd do whatever it takes to get her revenge. Now focus and bring me more orcs. He already defeated 997 orcs. The manual wave must have been insufficient. I still need a couple more. Vulcan replies, I can't believe you. Do you have no respect for your elders? Do you not have parents? Protagonist says, yeah, I don't. So what? I'm an orphan raised in an orphanage. Choi Gunhoon was from the same orphanage too. Vulcan replies, alright, I get what you're going through. Protagonist. What the hell is that reaction? Vulcan says, the fact that you're an asshole. This is how I normally act. Come here, let me give you a hug. Message. Accomplishment cleared. Orc Slayer. They both entered the 10th floor. Room of Trials. System. Welcome to the 10th floor. You must defeat the boss monster to enter the heart of the 10th floor. If you fail, you will be forcibly returned to the 9th floor. Vulcan. Huh, what's that? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Looks like those are the fastest clear records. They're all within a minute. Protagonist says, looks like your name is not up there. Vulcan replies, your isn't either. And most of the records are from the 4 great species. Protagonist says, how about this? Why don't we break the record today? Vulcan. That sounds good. Message. The test is under preparation. Protagonist. Anyways, do we need to get ready for the battle? Looks like it's possible. Vulcan. Use your demon soul soldiers to stop the boss from moving when it spawns. Vulcan replies, alright, I'll get it ready. Why don't we do this? Protagonist uses the skill, Magic Spear. I'll show you the power of an all-master. Enchant. Element. Enchant. Piercing. Enchant. Dexterity. Enchant. Resilience. Enchant. Lethal. I won't forget this. Enchant. Demonic energy. We see Vulcan and Protagonist ready to defeat the boss monster. System. The test will begin soon. 3, 2, 1. Test start. The Great Orc Warrior has been summoned. Vulcan says, go, Demon Soul Soldier. Protagonist. Glingner. He uses his magic spear. And defeat the boss with one blow. We see their record is 96 milliseconds. Record broken. You have broken the record for taking the shortest time to complete the 10th floor test. Would you like to enter your name? Protagonist says, let's do, Ghostface. System. The 10th floor record has been updated. 8th floor. Look, the best record on the 10th floor isn't even a second long. If it's a Ghostface. Is it Ghostface, the wave killer? Haru thinks. I'll need to work harder. Vulcan says, to think we would break the records of the 4 great species. Even the greatest spirit masters have yet to do this. Student. Protagonist says, does that mean we're the only ones who managed to do it? Let's go. We have more to do on the 10th floor. Vulcan replies. Alright, hurry up and wait for Haru. System. You have reached the 10th floor. Accomplishment. All stats +5. The auction has been unlocked. We see someone sitting on the chair. He says, Ghost face. Huh. 10th floor. This is the first large city that climbers will visit. And it is where the portal back to Earth lies at. Therefore, people who gave up and/or stopped climbing attained commercial rights, and ended up creating the biggest city out of the first 100 floors within the tower. Protagonist says, I'll sell the rest of my loot. I'll just buy some potions and other consumables. Vulcan says, they are lifting the auction ban, but the city's marketplace is still thriving. Protagonist replies, well, yeah. There are people who just live ordinary lives here. You can't buy everything you need from the auction. Every shopkeeper saying, we're Gold Lich Foods. Hey, mister, don't you need some weapons from the Gold Lich workshop? Come rest at the Gold Lich Inn. Vulcan asks, what's Gold Lich? Protagonist replies, I guess you wouldn't know. Gold Lich Company, they're the top company within the tower that appeared several years ago. Vulcan asks, then what's Gold Lich? Protagonist replies, it's someone's name. The richest man in the tower, Gold Lich. We don't know his real name. He possesses an unimaginable amount of gold. And it is said that most things that circulate in the tower pass through his hands. Vulcan asks, but didn't you say you had some business to take care of? He replies, yeah, I'm gonna get a sponsor. Vulcan asks, sponsor, who? Protagonist replies, you're looking at it right now. All of ours sponsor logos. Vulcan says, you mean? The sponsor is? Protagonist says, yes, I'm gonna have Gold Lich as my sponsor. One girl says, welcome to Gold Lich Company. Anything of monetary value can be sold and bought here. Weapons, loot, potions, information. Anything can be sold and bought here at Gold Lich Company. Please grab a waiting ticket and wait. His waiting ticket number is 18. Someone says, number 18. I'm Halcyon. I'm in charge of the third counter. How may I help you today? Protagonist says, I would like to buy something. He asks his name. Protagonist says, no, would this work? He sees his mask and says, that mask. Ghost face. Protagonist says, don't you think there's a reason why I go around with my mask on? Halcyon says, that's true. Protagonist. Check the money first. There's 3,000 gold. I got it all from Waves. He says, what are you trying to buy with all this money? Protagonist replies, Gold Lich. I want to buy a meeting with him. He says, with Sir Gold Lich. Is this bastard insane? It was true that he was a ruffian outside the tower after all. Protagonist says, what's wrong? You said anything can be bought and sold here. He says, I'm sorry, but this deal is not possible. There are two reasons. First, Sir Gold Lich is busy. Protagonist asks second reason. He says, this may come off rude, but the money you've offered is too little. 3,000 gold is a lot, but it's nothing compared to the value of Sir Gold Lich's time. Protagonist thinks, I guess it can't be undone. Protagonist says, then, how much would I need to pay for a meeting with the manager here? Vulcan says, you sure are a horrible person. Asking some random employee to meet the head of the company. What did Halcyon do to you? Protagonist says, do you have any other ideas on how I meet Gold Lich then? If you do, I'll accept your criticism. Is this it? He knocked on the door and says, it's a ghost face. Manager says, come in. They open the door and enter the room. Manager says, I'm the Gold Lich Company's 10th branch manager. Puppet. Nice to meet you, super rookie. You wanted to meet Sir Gold Lich. Protagonist replies, yes, but it looks like he's not here. Manager says, I'm sorry, but with the money you offered. Protagonist says, then how about this? Call him over first. He will definitely become my sponsor once he meets me. Manager replies, you're making bets with your arrogance now. I've heard a lot about you. But it doesn't feel nice to hear you talk about him so casually. Manager thinks, with my trait, Marionette, I can control the person entangled in my strings at will. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to leave. Protagonist says, arrogance. I'll wager your arrogance too then. Is this still not enough? Manager thinks, he just nullified my skill that works on even 180th floor climbers. How? Alright. Then how about this? I'm sure this is your first time seeing this. This is, protagonist says, the mind realm. An infinite realm newly made by separating our soul and mind from the body. Manager thinks, how does a 10th floor climber know about the mind realm? Then I'm sure you're aware that the laws of reality don't apply here. A dimension where you have to use your experiences and the strength of your soul to fight. If you win against me in a fight, I'll try to set up a meeting with Sir Goldlich for you. Protagonist says, the power of one's experience and soul. You're no match for me then. Are you still unaware? Your trait doesn't work on me. Manager thinks, how can a 10th floor climber know about my trait? He possesses the mental prowess of at least a 100th floor climber. No, maybe above a 200th floor climber. Fine. I'll acknowledge that you're on par with me. We see some kind of puppets start spawning. Protagonist says, puppets. Manager. Puppet army. In the mind realm, experience is your strength. There are the puppets I've gained from my experience. In order to climb the floors above the 100th, I've remodeled the product such that it enhances when I infuse mana. And these enhanced puppets are as strong as a 50th floor climber. The moment you entered the mind realm, the winner was already decided. Ghost face. Go. My puppet army. All puppets start attacking the protagonist. Manager says, it's the end. Injuries in the mind realm don't reflect in the real world, so rest assured. Protagonist destroys the puppets. Manager says, what's that? Magic. We see the demon. Manager says, the Lich Mage. Why is the 100th floor boss monster here? Protagonist says, it's not as easy as I thought. Manager. My puppets. Protagonist says, even if it's the mind realm, materializing a dead person takes time. A puppet army. Puppet soldiers, huh? It seems like you haven't seen what a real army is. This is a good opportunity, so observe well. This is what you call a real army. The moment we entered the mind realm, the winner was decided. Mere puppets. That's the reason for your loss. Manager thins, Lich, Doulahan, and those I don't even know the name of. Don't tell me that they are all boss monsters from beyond the 100th floor. Who the hell? Just who the hell are you? Ghost face. All monsters are about to attack the manager. We see they come back from the mind realm. Manager thinks, when did we come back? I didn't release the mind realm. No way. He controlled the mind realm. Protagonist says, stop being a crybaby and get up. You haven't forgotten about our bet, right? You need to let me meet the Gold Lich. Manager says, is it just this letter? Protagonist says, yeah. Send this to the Gold Lich. Manager says, although it's not my place to say this since I lost. But if there's no reply to the letter, there's nothing I can do. Protagonist says, don't worry. There'll definitely be a reply. Manager says, when I receive a response, I will contact your lodging. Protagonist replies, okay. Please return safely. Vulcan says, the sky has already begun to set. Shall we head back to our lodging and rest? Protagonist says, what are you talking about? We need to head to our next destination. Vulcan asks, there's somewhere else we need to go to. Protagonist says, isn't it inefficient to just sit and wait around until Gold Lich arrives? Since we need to kill time here, we need to fulfill our responsibilities as guild members. First floor lobby. Someone says, Unnie, how high have you climbed? To the 57th floor. She says, well, you did say you were gonna get new equipment when you hit your quota for this month. Finish your food and go climb. She says, but I don't understand. Why do we need to stay in the 10th floor lobby? Which stupid bastard would barge into the Holy Kingdom's affiliated guild's main door? We see the protagonist arrive there. They say, welcome to White Swallow. What brings you here today? Protagonist replies, why am I here? Raiding the tower is so difficult. I want to join a guild. She says, oh, it's just someone who wants to join. I was so surprised. They think, wait, if we recommend a newbie to the guild members, the referrer can obtain a large amount of power. They say, ah, come in. Do you perhaps have a referrer? Did someone direct you here? Protagonist replies, no, I don't. I came because this was a large guild's affiliate. They think, nice, he's a beginner who doesn't know anything. They ask him to show some of his skills. Protagonist says, could you lend me a coin? She says, a coin? Is this okay? Protagonist says, all right, with this coin. He bends the coin. They are both shocked and say, with his bare hands. Amazing. He says, and I can do some basic magic. They both say, magic. He says, yes, magic. I can do basic magic, like lighting a fire like this. They say, oh, you have a lot of small talents. This is amazing. His skills right now aren't what's important. Yeah, if we get him to learn under us, he might become a tycoon. On top of that, he's good looking too. What? That's your type. Protagonist thinks, if I bought this much time. Soon, they hear some kind of sound. One person arrives there and says, hey, something bad happening. A spirit monster is going crazy outside. It's destroying the village. Everyone who has climbed to the 50th floor are all summoned. Come out right now, she says, such an important time. Wait right here. We'll solve that and come back quickly. Protagonist says, now then. Shall I revert to being a ghost face? Outside people are running saying, get away from the shopping district. It's dangerous. Items get destroyed the moment they get close. Our attacks don't work also. We see the spirit is Vulcan. He says, I'm resentful. People saying, he's so awkward. Vulcan thinks, I know that too. I haven't done anything like acting for the past decades. That damned Cha Jinhyuk. To bring upon such shame on the first spirit master. I'll never forgive you. We see the protagonist. He hit one person. He says, it's not here. I wonder where it is. Another person arrives. He says, so loud seriously. What the hell's happening? He asks protagonist, who are you? How did you get in here? He catches him by his neck and says, oh, there are a lot of books here. Could it be here? I'm looking for something. You guys are a guild affiliated with the Holy Kingdom, right? I want the list of the other guilds and their exact locations. Of course, it's to find them and destroy them. He says, do you think you'll be safe? After making 2 of the 9 stars your enemy. Protagonist replies, thank you for your concern. But is this the time for you to be concerned about someone else? If you don't give me the information right now, you might die. He says, over there, on the desk. Protagonist says, thanks for not wasting my time. He checks the paper and thinks, this. The Pelin siblings. So these guys are their hands and feet, huh? Just you wait, Kane and Carmen. One by one they'll be under my feet. I'll slowly destroy you. First. Next is. We see Gold Lich, and he says, next is. A report from the 10th floor's branch. Is it a puppet? A letter? Is there a reason for them to send a letter separately when there's the report? He sees the letter and says, Ghost Face. How do you know about this? In the town, a fire that's suspected to be arson. We don't know the arsonist. All witnesses on the scene have died. White Swallow Guild Master, Beck Hollio says. That prospective recruit is suspicious. What did he look like, and what was he wearing? She replies, he's a thin male. One says, a handsome man with a high nose bridge. Other says, an ugly man with a stompy nose. She thinks, oh, no way, hallucination magic. Vulcan says, I'm back. Protagonist says, good job, Vulcan. There are a lot of rumors circulating about a scary ghost. Vulcan says, are you testing me right now? Then, what about you? Did you do well without getting caught? Protagonist says, of course. It's lowly magic but it works here. Everyone who met me will remember me slightly differently. Vulcan asks, Why did you come back without anything then? What about the information about the other guilds? He says, having it in there is enough. Vulcan says, all right, you're the best. Did you request room service? Of course not. Someone knocks on the door. Protagonist says, I'll open it on the count of 3. Vulcan, you go after them. 1, 2, 3. They catch the person that is outside the door. Protagonist says, you're the person I saw at the Gold Lich store. He says, yes, my name's is Halcyon. Ghost. No, dear guest. Sir Puppet sent me here. Gold Lich has come to the 10th floor's branch. Protagonist says, what, where's Gold Lich? Someone says, I don't know how you learned about the contents written in the letter. But I commend you for your arrogance, as well as the guts you have for showing your face. But there's a hefty price to pay. People who know about that can't exist in the tower. Protagonist thinks, long time no see. Gold Lich, he says, brings him to my room. He just needs to be breathing. Guards say, yes, Sir Gold Lich. Protagonist says, so, you want to fight? Guards line up for the battle. His attack will break through the blockade. Follow me, and protagonist punch him and say, are you stupidly telling everyone your strategy? He destroys all the guards easily and says, now, next, will you be my opponent? Gold Lich. Protagonist is about to attack him. We see Gold Lich stop his attack with Golden Power. Golden Power. Gold Lich's trait where he consumes gold, and uses it with his mana. Protagonist says, is that it? Gold Lich. He says, of course not. The majority of the gold in this branch will cause a wave. Even if it's you, if you get hit by it, you'll be critically injured. He's done for. Protagonist says, not yet. In a battle of speed, I will be last to lose. Gold Lich says, you think you'll be able to apprehend me with this? If I wanted to, I could kill someone like you. Protagonist says, no, you can't kill me. You haven't heard where I got the information from. And they also want to capture me alive. I'll tell you. My source. Gold Lich says, follow me. Protagonist says, such a grand room. Money's great, isn't it? Right. Gold Lich attacks him from behind and says, my golden power completely shuts us from the outside world. Even gods or demons can't enter. Now, tell me, the person who told you I'm the owner of the auction. Who the hell was it? This is the end of the video. Subscribe for more. The new chapters of this story are not out yet. When they release the new chapter, then I will upload the next part. If you didn't already watch the previous parts, first watch them to understand what's happening. Gold Lich thinks, auction. It's a huge system that allows you to trade items within the tower. However, this system isn't something that naturally appeared in the tower. It was made by someone. And that someone is me, Gold Lich. If this truth gets exposed, the foundation of my Gold Lich company will fall. He asks Jinhyuk, who the hell told you that I was the owner of the auction? Jinhyuk says, it was a bluff. There's no sources. Gold Lich is angry and prepares for an attack. He says, having one less arm and leg wouldn't be a huge hindrance to you, right? We see Vulcan appears in front of Jinhyuk and stops the attack. Gold Lich is shocked. He says, that's a soul soldier. A spirit master is the only one who can use soul soldiers. Don't tell me. Jinhyuk with an evil smile says, so you finally recognize me. It's time for you to pay me back, creditor William. Gold Lich says, you were alive. Cha Jinhyuk. The raid on the 600th floor. The betrayal of the 9 stars. Baal's gift. And resurrection, huh? Vulcan says, oh, so they had such a history. Gold Lich says, I can't believe you're Cha Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk says, I'm sure you can't. I was also surprised too. Gold Lich says, so, what's your motive? He says, I need to use some money from the Gold Lich company. Let's make a sponsorship-typed contract. Gold Lich says, you're talking about my company as if it's yours. Jinhyuk says, it's basically mine. For someone who couldn't be a wandering merchant. Who was it that sold you loot from the higher levels of the tower? I'm a founding contributor of the Gold Lich company. And the greatest shareholder. Gold Lich says, that arrogance. It really feels like I'm talking to real Cha Jinhyuk. He says, I really am though. Gold Lich says, even if you're the real Cha Jinhyuk, if it's a contract, you need to give me something too. Jinhyuk says, how about the information that I deduced? All the information that I've gathered up until now that I've summarized and deduced. Gold Lich says, fine, I'll decide on a price after listening. Jinhyuk says, 9-star plan to fuck me over. So that means there's a mastermind. They have rather strong personalities, so they won't listen to each other. A power that's able to command them is none other than the tower's 4 monarchs. Gold Lich is shocked after hearing that. He says, wait. Are you talking about the 4 royalties? They want to protect the supremacy of their species. If another species climbs to the higher levels of the tower that has appeared on another world, their powers dampens. Jinhyuk says, so they either want to climb to the top of the tower, or get rid of those who have the potential to climb high up. Gold Lich says, and those who participate will become the ruler of a decent floor. Jinhyuk says, correct. Gold Lich says, however, is that all you can deduce? You're the only victim after all. The one village on the 100th floor know it. Vulcan says, I know the only survivor from that disaster. Jinhyuk says, her name's Haryu. She's a young Oni. Gold Lich says, a young Oni. After that we see Haryu. She is fighting with orcs. She says, not yet. Still not enough. In order to win against that, she is fighting with the boss monster but gets defeated. System, you have exceeded the time limit. The 10th floor's challenge room. The raid has failed. You will be forcibly transported to the 9th floor's safety zone. She thinks, in order to meet Oribeoni again, I need to become a lot stronger. Her sword spirit says, why are you groaning, when you just need to use me? You want to quickly meet that guy, right? It'll be a piece of cake if you leave the great orc warrior to me. She says, I'm not going to use the power of the Dragon Slayer sword. Since I promised Oribeoni, I need to get stronger by myself. If you're going to interfere, please don't talk to me. Gold Lich says, it's odd, isn't it? During the midst of that war, the Onus only sent a young child and a sword. So you're saying that the target was that child and the sword? Jinhyuk says, correct again. To kill one young Oni, they annihilated the Oni species. In other words, they're handpicking. Gold Lich thinks, impossible. That's something that will shake the tower's foundation. But, if that's true, then everything makes sense. Jinhyuk says, and my motive is revenge. I'm going to obliterate everyone including the 9-star. Those supporting the 4 royalties, and the 4 royalties who killed your family. We see Kid Gold Lich standing in front of his dead family. After hearing that, Gold Lich says, fine. I'll buy your deduction. Jinhyuk says, you made a great choice. Gold Lich says, but, prove that you're him. Right now. Jinhyuk says, did you not trust me in the slightest? Do you really need to go this far? Gold Lich says, I'm a merchant. Trust is an asset. I can't sell or buy anything with just a slight trust. Jinhyuk says, how annoying. Hey, Ball. Can you vouch for my identity? Will a handshake do? System. The peak of all evil is yelling, who would vouch for your identity with a mere handshake? He says he'll think about it if it's 3. Jinhyuk says, fine. 3. Deal. The peak of all evil is saying that he is the person you're thinking about. He's saying to stop second guessing. He's saying that he'll put his title, Peak of All Evil, on the line and vouch for him. Gold Lich after hearing that says, I can't deny it any further. I'll believe you. It's good to see you again, Ghostface. Jinhyuk says, I'm sure there'll be a day when we'll call each other by our real names. Gold Lich. Then I'll make my first request to my sponsor. Gold Lich says, of course. If it's something that money can buy, I'll get it for you right away. Jinhyuk says, I need every type of weapon that can be used in the tower, and lots of spares. Gold Lich says, you're a spirit master. Why do you need them? Are you going to start a war on the 10th floor? Jinhyuk says, have you heard the term All-Master? Gold Lich is shocked. He says, an All-Master. That's a class. Jinhyuk says, as the name suggests, it boosts all stats. Even for weapons, I've never used before, it feels like I've used them for years. Gold Lich thinks, if that's true, Then Jinhyu is a lot stronger now than in a past. Of course, he's weaker now, but in terms of potential, he isn't. Then what I have to do is to exponentially increase his potential. Gold Lich says, Puppet, are you out there? Puppet says, yes, have you finished the conversation? Gold Lich says, purchase and gather all the weapons on the 10th floor. Make sure you use other company names so it's not obvious. And, pack them up for a VIP. After some time Puppet says, thank you for waiting. I have purchased all the items that you have requested. Jinhyuk says, everything. But it's just one piece of clothing. I also asked for other things besides weapons. Puppet says, no, this has everything stored inside. Jinhyuk says, stored. Gold Lich says, the name of this coat is a subspace coat. The coat's lining is linked to a subspace. It can store as many inanimate objects as a large storage room could. Its the temperature, size and color is adjustable as per the user's will as well. It also has protective magic casted on it. If you store your accessories in it, the effects would be automatically applied onto them. It's a very rare item within the tower. Use it with care. Jintuk says, you're the one who should be careful, since you need to handle my lofty expenditures. After that we see 3 players coming out from the portals. One player says, we're alive. I thought we were gonna die. Second player says, since we challenged it as a party, there are no achievements. But we survived because of Saengate Hung's support item. Third player says, but we used up all our assets before we could even reach the 10th floor. How are we going to climb the tower now? First player says, don't worry. The White Swallow Guild has a branch here on the 10th floor. If we meet him, we'd be able to climb again, but with more affluence. And that gut on the first floor. It seems like he became a super rookie called Ghostface. For threatening and humiliating me. I'll make sure he pays. Alright, let's go. We're going to enter a bloody revenge battle. They see the branch is burned out. Kim says, this is what happened. The other guild members evacuated to the 30th floor. You can't contact your Hung Wither. What are you going to do now, Saengate? We're lacking in skills and money. It's impossible to climb up to the 30th floor like this. Hey, say something. We trusted and follow you, Kim Sungtae. Besides the fact that you're in a good guild, you're nothing. Hey, Kim, I asked what you're gonna do. Kim thinks, shut up. You useless shits. Then what about you guys? You're completely useless. Bastards who wouldn't have been able to pass the 10th floor without me. I should use this chance to get rid of these bastards. We see a white color fox. Kim says, what's that, a fox? If you're going to asking for food, we don't have anything. Go away. Fox lick his foot. Kim says, ah, you're freaking disgusting. Get lost. You mutt. He hit Fox with his foot and throw it away. Kim says, you came at the right time. I'm so stressed too. He hit Fox again and again. He says, damn it. Why me? Why doesn't anything work out for me? My life only goes wrong. I only have mutts around me. I'm so freaking unlucky too. We see something coming toward him. That thing is a sword. That sword cut the leg of Kim. So satisfying. The person who throw that sword is Jinhyuk. He says, why don't you stop that? If you continue it'll just take longer to treat it. Kim is in pain. He says, my leg. Who are you? Jinhyuk says, me. Are you talking about me? I'm going to be the owner of that fox you stepped on. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. First watch the previous parts from the playlist to understand the story. Jinhyuk says to Vulcan, we have one last destination. Vulcan says, where are we going? Jinhyuk says, we're going to the Tower of the Class Change. To get spirit power. Vulcan says, why? You're already a spirit master though. Jinhyuk says, my class change is like a bug, similar to being an all-master and having memories of my previous life. I have yet to obtain spirit power through cultivation. Vulcan says, I see. I didn't think of that. Jinhyuk says, first, let's take a break from using Golden Lich's money tonight. System. The nine-tailed fox has sensed something. The peak of all evil is telling you to look over there. He asks Nine-Tailed Fox, what are you doing? The nine-tailed fox is asking for your help. It's saying its baby is in danger. Again we see the scene in which Jinhyuk cut the leg of Kim. Jinhyuk says, Why don't you stop that? If you continue, it'll just take longer to treat it. Kim starts shouting due to pain and says, "Who are you?" Jinhyuk says, "Me, are you talking to me? I'm going to be the owner of that fox you stepped on." Jinhyuk thinks, to think that I would see the offspring of the nine-tailed fox, a mystical animal, in a place like this. And a quest too. Quest. Please save the baby, the disciple of the neutral god, and the nine-tailed fox. After the rescue, please treat it as well. Reward. Fox's item. Increases friendliness with the nine-tailed fox. The first reward will be given after the rescue and the second reward will be given after its recovery. I received an unexpected stroke of luck. Kim says, "That mask. Ghost face." Jingkyuk asks Kim, "Where have I seen you before?" Kim says, "Is that how you're going to provoke me? Guys, get him." Two teammates of the Kim try to attack Jinhyuk. Their attack is about to hit him but he disappears. They say, "Where did he go?" Jinhyuk grabs the fox and says, "Did you step on it knowing what it was? It would have been your last shred of luck." Kim says, "Why do I need to know that? I'll cut your leg the same way." Jinhyuk says to Nine-Tailed Fox, "What should I do to those bastards?" The Nine-Tailed Fox is telling you to kill them. They run to attack the Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk says, "Hey, take the item you left behind." He threw the leg of Kim toward him. Kim says, "He threw my severed foot." Jinhyuk defeats all of them with his attack, corpse explosion. Jinhyuk says to the fox, "So, you're the nine-tailed fox baby. But what should I do now? Let's name it first, since I can't keep calling it baby fox." So if I shorten baby fox, it'll be box. Vulcan says, "I think the fox will crack your neck when it grows up." The nine-tailed fox is fiercely nodding. Jinhyuk asks, "Do you have a better idea then?" Vulcan says, "I'll display my naming sense which comes from my years of experience. With the meaning to grow brightly, ho, for fox and rang, for bright. Call it horang." Everyone is seeing toward Vulcan. Vulcan says, "If you don't like it, just say it." Jinhyuk says, "Since it's a two-tailed fox, let's call it Miho, for short. That's the best, right?" Vulcan says, "Will that picky fox be satisfied with just that?" Fox is happy. Jinhyuk says, "I think he likes it." System. Partial quest completion. You have saved the nine-tailed fox offspring, Miho. The reward has been granted. We see the item start appearing in front of Jinhyuk. He says, "This is a fox mask." System. When worn, you can use the fox's ability. The mask's ability will also increase in proportion to the original owner's strength. Jinhyuk thinks, it's similar to the Oni mask. If it's the fox's abilities, then there should be several of them. But charm is the best. There is no better skill to detain an opponent. The nine-tailed fox is saying that the quest is still ongoing. It's saying not to forget about the baby fox's vitality. Jinhyuk says, "Vitality, what do I need to do?" Quest Part 2. In order for Miho to regain its strength, you need to feed it 999 fresh raw livers. Raw livers 0999. Reward. Increase in friendliness with the nine-tailed fox. Vulcan says, 999 livers. Jinhyuk says, "On top of that, since it needs to be fresh, I have to hunt all of them personally, right?" Well, considering the price of the mask, it can't be helped. There are benefits to gaining favorability, right? I'll look forward to it. Nine tails. The nine-tailed fox is telling you not to say such obvious things. Vulcan says, "Then everything's settled. I'll be going out for a stroll." Jinhyuk says, "When the sun rises, we're going to the Tower of Class Change. If you think you're gonna be late, just head there directly." Vulcan replies, "All right." Vulcan is flying outside. He says, "As expected, it's very different from when I was climbing the tower." He notices something and says, "This feeling. No way. A dragon. Those horns and that savage mana, it's unmistakably a dragon." Dragon says, "I want to kill off all the dragons." Vulcan thinks, "Kill the dragons." Dragons are narcissistic, just as they would portray familial love. They're the most prideful out of the four royalties. For there to be a dragon that says that it will not let any of its brethren live. Shit. The dragon will soon come to the 10th floor. We see two girls talking about that dragon. One girl says, that dragon is standing over there again. Second girl says, he's been there for a few days too. First girl says, he's mumbling things that don't make sense either. Vulcan thinks, few days. The dragons have yet to take action as well. Why? Dragon sees toward Vulcan. Vulcan thinks, oh shit. Did it sense my mana? Dragon says, it's you. The measly ghost that's going around while putting up an awkward act. Vulcan says, what? A measly ghost? Vulcan go toward the dragon and says, since you're clueless about my strength, I can grasp how strong you are. Young dragon. Dragon gets angry and says, how dare you call me a dragon? You really want to die. We see the tower of class change on the outskirts of the 10th floor. Jinhyuk standing outside the tower. He says, Vulcan, that bastard. He hasn't come back yet. What is he doing not responding to my telepathy? He goes inside the tower and says, is no one here? One person says, welcome. I'm Ken, the climber who's in charge of the tower of class change. Jinhyuk says, the place is really empty. Ken says, it's because there are very few people who awaken their mana on the 10th floor. There are only flies flying around here. Jinhyuk says, I want to use the necromancer's room, is that possible? Ken says, of course. But, in order to prove that you've awakened your mana, please fill up this crystal orb with mana. Jinhyuk says, do I just need to channel mana into it? Ken says, yes, you just need to think about using mana and slowly infuse it. Jinhyuk touches the orb and starts channeling mana. Ken is shocked after seeing so much mana. Ken says, impossible. How can a 10th floor climber have this much mana? Jinhyuk breaks the orb with his mana. Ken says, the crystal shattered. Jinhyuk asks, where is the necromancer's room? After that we see Vulcan and Dragon fighting with each other. Vulcan thinks, this is bad. I'm not with Jinhyuk, so there's a limit to my mana and souls. Dragon says, how long do you plan to hide behind souls? Isn't it about time you came out to fight? One person sees the dragon and says, those horns. There's no doubt about it. He's a dragon. Dragon again gets angry and says, shut up. Who are you calling a dragon? Vulcan thinks, this bastard is definitely a dragon. But, he's reacting sensitively to the word dragon. It's like his body and soul have been separated. Is something like that even possible? He thinks about Jinhyuk and says, no way. It's overflowing. A researcher's fascination. Using a soul as a weapon. I'm going to take a look at that substance inside your body. Vulcan uses the soul laser attack. Dragon says, so you weren't a measly ghost. Vulcan says, spirit power is magic that consumes souls as if it were mana. It's a technique that even Jinhyuk can't use yet. I'm Vulcan, the first spirit master. I'll make sure you regret picking a fight with me. Dragon says, are we introducing ourselves now? Fine. Dragon appears in front of Vulcan and attack the Vulcan, but Vulcan blocks the attack with his spirit weapon. Dragon says, I'm Hendrik, the Dragon Slayer. It's the name of the human who will send you to the Nirvana. Vulcan thinks, a Dragon Slayer. A title given to someone who subjugates dragons. Damn it, H-Gao did a strong soul like that end up in a dragon's body. Dragon uses the attack, flowing dragon ride. Vulcan says, I was careless because he's a young dragon. If there's really a Dragon Slayer's soul in there, and they're a 7,800th floor climber, then even if Jinhyuk comes, I can't guarantee we'll win. That means, Dragon says, do you think I'll get hit by that again? Vulcan says, soul bind. We see soul start grabbing the dragon. Dragon is shocked. Dragon uses 10,000 slashes. Vulcan again says, soul bind. We see a big hand appears in front of the dragon. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. First watch the previous parts. The playlist link is in the description. Vulcan attack the dragon with big hand. He says, that was close. I've used up all of the souls and mana that Jinhyuk temporarily gave me. He won't be able to move for the time being. This is my chance. Let's run for it. Vulcan run away from there. Dragon free himself from the attack. He is very angry and says, Vulcan, you said your name was Vulcan, right? All right, I'll personally slice you into pieces next time. I swear. We see Jinhyuk. He says, there are a lot of rooms. The person with him replies, there's a large diversity of magic paths, after all. He thinks, this person, who is he? He's a 10th floor climber, but even I, a 35th floor climber, can't go against him. Jinhyuk thinks, did he say his name was Ken? He's an alright mage. He's quite useful as a guide. Ken show him the necromancer room. We see the books are flying around. Jinhyuk saw the room and thinks, reagents, corpses, and books, it's a room that necromancers dream of. Ken is about to leave the room and says, if you need anything, please let me know. Jinhyuk replies, sure. Then, shall we get started? Vulcan appears in front of Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk asks him, where were you? Vulcan replies, don't worry. I just went a little rough on my morning exercise. Seems like you were about to get started. Jinhyuk replies, yeah, if I want to use spirit power like yours. Spirit soldiers, get to work. Spirit soldiers start preparing. Jinhyuk sits on the place and looks like he is concentrating. Miho is standing right beside him. Vulcan catch the Miho and says, we should stand back. Jinhyuk says to Vulcan, that might be my last command, so listen well. Protect my body until I wake up. Vulcan replies, be careful, if you die, I'm going to take over your body. We see a big spirits came out from the body of the Jinhyuk. Miho is scared. Vulcan says, don't worry. It's going well. Spirit power. A crucial quality of a necromancer-type mage. You can use souls as though they were mana. The fastest way to awaken one's spirit power is to be in a soul state. In other words, you need to die once. Jinhyuk is unconscious. Vulcan says, I think he's entered into the soul world. Someone says, the body. Give me the body. Vulcan looks scared and says, so it has started. We see a different color spirit start coming out from the portal. Those spirit wants the body of Jinhyuk. Vulcan creates soul soldiers and order the spirits to protect the body of Jinhyuk. Vulcan use soul laser to destroy bad spirits. Ken opens the door and says, Sir Climber. What's this sound? He gets scared and says, what's this? It's chaos. Vulcan says, what? Are you manager here? Help me out. Miho is scared. Miho saw one spirit is about to attack Jinhyuk from behind. Vulcan and Ken saw that spirit, but now they can't do anything to save him. Vulcan says, get a grip, your body is about to get stolen. Miho teleports and appear in front of the spirit. Miho use some kind of technique. We see light is coming out from the body of Miho. Spirits say, what that? Where did it come from? I don't know, but it's so cute. Look at that adorable tool. Spirits can't handle the beauty of Miho. Vulcan and his spirit also can't handle it. Vulcan thinks, is this charm? It doesn't just control one's desires. A power that captures souls as well. Maybe she's different since she has the blood of a god. We see a big skeleton in front of Jinhyuk. He says, how noisy, it's total chaos. Vulcan is scared and says, that's a named. He was a strong climber before he died. It'll be dangerous if he possesses Jinhyuk body. Skeleton saw Jinhyuk and says, a fresh body. Vulcan tried to run to save Jinhyuk. But he can't because of the effect of charm. Vulcan says to Miho, you need to stop him. Ghost says, move, I'm not interested in you, fur bull. Miho jumped to attack the ghost. Ghost says, this energy. A mystical creature. Miho tries to use charm but she run out of energy. Ghost is about to attack her and says, for something so measly to instill fear in me. Jinhyuk saves Miho with his attack. Jinhyuk wakes up and says, thanks Miho. And you're going to die. Ghost bastard. Even if you're a ghost, you'll be good enough to use as a bullet. Jinhyuk used the attack, 10-fingered soul bullet, and destroy the ghost and building with one attack. We see manager of the Gold Lich Company enters the room. He is shocked after seeing the destruction of the building. Manager says, what did one have to do in order to turn the tower into this? Jinhyuk replies, well, it's too much to explain, but why are you here? Puppet. Puppet replies, I came to give you something. Among the items you requested, there are items that couldn't store within the subspace coat. They are deadly poisons that range from each level of potency, a fire stone that contains energy, and a frost stone that contains ice energy. Vulcan says, he got them faster than I thought he would. Jinhyuk says, But that puppet, didn't you say you were going to use it for the raids in the floor above the 100th? Puppet replies, yes, that's right. This delivery is my last task as the branch manager of the 10th floor. I'm going to return as a climber and climb the tower again. Jinhyuk asks him, why? He replies, I felt the need to become stronger. As a merchant, I've set the top as my goal. And between Gold Lich and Ghostface, I realized that you're someone who'll bring upon big changes to the tower. Amidst such changes, with the skill of a 100th floor climber, I can't say that I'm the best merchant. Jinhyuk says, that's some good determination. How similar to Gold Lich at that time. When you obtain the proper skills, I'll tell you about my plans and Gold Lich's. Puppet says, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. He leaves the place. Vulcan says, he's gone. Jinhyuk says, then I'm going to have my fill now. Vulcan is shocked and says, wait, are you going to? Jinhyuk says, of course. Is there any other reasons? My gluttony trait will turn the power of the things I eat into mine. Aren't you curious about the power I'll acquire after I eat these? We see Vulcan trying to eat the fire stone. Fire is coming out from his mouth. He is in pain. Miho is worried. System. The nine-tailed fox is telling you not to display such things before its offspring. Jinhyuk use gluttony. And finally calm down. System. You have obtained the burn resistance. Jinhyuk says, am I left with poison resistance? They kill so many monsters. Vulcan asks him, what are you torturing yourself? Jinhyuk replies, what do you mean, torturing? I needed all of that. Vulcan says, to think you drank all of that poison, you tenacious bastard. Jinhyuk says, I told you already. Including the combat techniques of the 9-star. I have to quickly prepare myself by acquiring the resistance to variety of the things. Especially poison. Among the 9 stars there is one bastard who specializes in poison. If I had noticed his tricks, I wouldn't have died so horrifically. Vulcan asks one spirit, are these all the orcs within the area? Jinhyuk says, you've waited long. Let's eat Miho. Vulcan asks him, don't you need to remove the liver? Jinhyuk says, you're right. It's still a baby if you regard her as a human. Miho start eating everything. Quest Part 2. Raw livers. 127 out of 999. Jinhyuk says, if I could have my way, I would like to start a wave. But this is a larger city, so I don't think it's good to attract attention. But you, who were you fighting with last night? Vulcan replies, what, you knew about it? Jinhyuk says, my mana is fluctuating, so of course I would know. Who the hell was it? Did you meet one of the 4 royalties? You immediately got it. Vulcan replies, I fought with a dragon. He was quite strong. It was fine because I stopped him from moving with my spirit power. Jinhyuk angrily says, one of the 4 royalties is here. Vulcan asks him to calm down. Don't emit demonic energy in the middle of the streets. Blood comes out from the Jinhyuk mouth. He says, is it a side effect of the gluttony? Vulcan says, I told you to calm down. He wasn't your average dragon. Jinhyuk asks him, what do you mean? Vulcan tells him everything that happened with him. Jinhyuk says, a dragon slayer. Hendrik. But that doesn't make sense. For one's body and soul to act independently from one another. Vulcan says, that's right, I also denied it at first. But I witnessed an example right in front of me, you know. Jinhyuk says, on top of that, if it's Hendrik, the dragon slayer, even I know that name. In the beginning of his climb, he started to kill young dragons, and he killed other dragons who came after him. A monster who obtained the title, Dragon Slayer. I heard he died at the edge of 700th or 800th floor. Vulcan says, if I consider your situation, this could be a trap set by the 4 royalties. Jinhyuk says, nice, I should meet him then. That Hendrik guy. Jinhyuk again spit blood. Vulcan says, see, you went overboard. Your gluttony trait is broken. But there's a penalty for consuming things. The poison, fire, and frost stone. It'll be best for you to quickly get the internal injuries it's causing treated. Jinhyuk replies, treated? By a priest? Are you crazy? Do you want you and my spirit soldiers to be purified by divine power? Vulcan asks, then what are you going to do? If this continues, are you going to go around shitting out blood? Jinhyuk replies, the best method is for me to obtain divine power. Miho starts shouting. Jinhyuk asks, Miho, what's wrong? Why is she acting like this all of a sudden? Vulcan says, my ear hurts. Be quiet. Vulcan noticed that the people are strange. He says, these people, something's not right. What's with these people? They're not reacting to Miho's howls. I'm not sure what the reason is, but they're all walking together mindlessly. One girl coming toward them and says, nice to meet you. Ghost face. Jinhyuk says, an angel. He gets angry and tries to attack her saying, nice to meet you. That's not what I'm thinking. She is so fast and appear in front of him. She says, please don't do things that you'll regret. I'll give you my greetings again. Nice to meet you, ghost face. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. First watch the previous parts. The playlist link is in the description. We see spirit soldiers are fighting with orcs. Orcs are destroying spirit soldier. Suddenly we see one yellow color spirit soldier healing other soldiers. Jinhyuk asks Vulcan, how is it? My new holy spirit soldier. Vulcan replies, it functions as I expected. It's the exclusive healer for the undead and the spirit soldiers. It completely negates the basic necromancer mechanism, where materials are wasted due to the weak endurance for the number of summons. However, since divine power is divine, it seeks to attain enlightenment. Jinhyuk says, there's nothing we can do about it except being careful. Miho is eating dead orcs. Vulcan says, seems like she's done eating. She already eats 892 raw livers out of 999. Jinhyuk open his status window. Class: Spirit Master. Subclass: All Master. Physical: Mana type. Stats: Strength 35 plus 33. HP 37 plus 33. Agility 34 plus 33. Intelligence 51 plus 33. Mana 66 plus 48. Demonic energy 0 plus 10. Divine power 3. Trait 1. Gluttony 2. All-rounder. Skill: Combined tolerance. Endurance. He thinks, my seed of divine power grew for the past several days, so it increased by 2. Since it's a 3, it won't be very helpful. But in an emergency, I can use it once. Vulcan asks him, now what do we do? He replies, Hendrik, we should go meet him. They are in the town. Jinhyuk asks Vulcan, is the information correct? He replies, yeah. After that, he didn't move from the spot. He's not climbing, and it seems like he's waiting for someone. Jinhyuk thinks, Hendrik, a dragon slayer who's using the body of a dragon. It's good since I wanted to meet him. If he's stuck on the 10th floor, then I'm sure there's a reason. Like Uriel, he might be waiting for something after listening to the gods and demons. Vulcan says, we're here. When you exit this alley, you'll see him. We see Hendrik is still standing there. Jinhyuk saw him and thinks, he really is a dragon. Shall we go? Vulcan replies, wait, are you just going to talk to him like that? You might not be the one he's waiting for. Enraging him could lead to death. He says, then, we could just settle it by fighting. Vulcan says, you're insane. Fine, then go without me. He says, I know you were scared. You're scared because you got beat up last time. While they both are arguing with each other, Hendrik thinks, on the 10th floor, the one who will make your wish come true will appear. So wait. Jinhyuk standing in front of Hendrik and asks him, you are Hendrik, aren't you? He replies, indeed. I was wondering when you were going to talk to me. There's a familiar face too. First, you pass. Jinhyuk says, I don't like how you're straight out judging me. But I'll let it go since you said I pass. He says, there are too many eyes here. First, follow me. Here we are. Jinhyuk asks him, what? This is just a dead-end alley. There are many alleys around the square, so why did we come so far? We see Hendrik is going through the wall. Jinhyuk says, let's follow him. They also go through the wall. After going through the wall, Jinhyuk asks Hendrik, what is this? He replies, it's a type of subspace. A hidden space on the 10th floor. The eyes of the gods and demons are powerless here. Jinhyuk thinks, I see. I can definitely feel that it has weakened. Hendrik angrily says to Jinhyuk, then I'll ask you a question. I'm going to eradicate all the dragons, who killed me, in this tower. Are you prepared to fulfill this goal with me? He replies, for a man, isn't your dream too petty? Hendrik gets angry and reply, what? What did you say? Petty. Vulcan is trying to stop Jinhyuk from further provoking him by saying, he's a monster who's on another level. He says to Vulcan, just relax, you loser. I have a plan too. He says to Hendrik, I don't know your situation, but I can grasp how you become like that. I'm also sure you know, don't you? The bastard who killed us aren't just the 4 royalties. I don't care why you obsessed with the dragons, but that's not enough for me. I'm going to kill all the bastards who betrayed me. Be it anyone, even if it's not the 4 royalties. In other words, Hendrik, your goal is too small for me to ally with you. He asks him, don't tell me, do you intend to attack the 4 royalties? Jinhyuk says, you and I are the same. We're dead but alive, and those bastards are the ones behind my death. Do I need to say more? Hendrik started laughing. Jinhyuk asks Vulcan, you saw that, right? Hendrik says, I see. You're right. I'll apologize. I'm certain that you're the prophesied man. That Uriel talked about. He thinks, Uriel, have the wingless approached him already? Hendrik is about to withdraw his sword while saying, nice, this is great. I'm going to personally verify and test your resolve. To see if it's sincere or a bluff. The one who schemes against gods will, your name. He replies, Cha Jinhyuk. And remove his mask while saying, it's, Death Star, Cha Jinhyuk. We see an old man. He shout, you damned lizard. You're creating a fuss by coming here again. Didn't you finish what you came here to do? Hendrik says, he was around. Jinhyuk says, who's that? Do you know that? Hendrik replies, he's the blacksmith who lives here. He's also the one who made my sword. Old man says, yes. You should have left now that you've gotten your sword. Why are you back? Vulcan thinks with surprised face, impossible, he's an Oni. Old man says, what a strange combination. A spirit, and a mystical creature. Who's that tanned bastard? Jinhyuk asks him, how are you still alive? Old man replies, you're a bastard who doesn't respect his elders. Yes, I'm still alive. Do you have any complaints? Jinhyuk says, wait, that's not what I meant. I'm asking, how did you survive that disaster? Old man is about to attack him while saying, so you're the one who burnt my village. Hendrik stop him. He says to Hendrik, let go. Hendrik, this bastard burnt my village. Hendrik says, please calm down. He's someone who has the same backstory as me. Vulcan asks old man, do you perhaps know the Oni named Haryu? Old man asks him, how do you know Haryu? They tells him that Haryu is alive. Hendrik thinks, it's surprising. To think a coincidence like this occurred. Old man says, that day was the first day of the village's traditional festival. All of the onus in the tower went to the 100th floor. Due to my age, I was ill. So I remained here. And, where's Haryu right now? Is she safe? Jinhyuk replies, she's on the 9th floor right now. We're going to meet her soon. Old man asks, then that mask, is that Haryu's? He replies, yes, she said it was her repayment me for saving her. Hendrik asks Jinhyuk, is that Haryu person strong? He replies, yeah, she's still growing but she's probably stronger than us in one-on-one battles. Hendrik asks, then, is she just a temporary member of your party? Or is she a permanent member? He replies, we'll be moving together until the end. I accepted her mask and decided to take revenge together with Haryu. Old man says, thank you. I'm Geno. I was the village's blacksmith. I'll do everything within my power to support you. Please rebuild the village with Haryu. He says, pardon. Well, we should. Vulcan thinks, does this guy perhaps not know that accepting the mask is equivalent to accepting her proposal? Old man says, I'm fine with you taking all the weapons in the workshop. Jinhyuk took one sword and says, there are good weapons. They're on another level than the ones Gold Rich got me. Hendrik says, Jeno is the best Oni. Blacksmith, of course they're on another level. Then let's go. Elder, we're going. Jinhyuk says, did he fall asleep? Hendrik replies, it seems like he finally relaxed after hearing that there was a survivor. He hasn't rested comfortably at all ever since I've known him. Jinhyuk says, then let's leave him to asleep. I should bring Haryu here after meeting up with her. He thinks, Haryu will be able to obtain some strength after meeting Jeno. I'm glad. Hendrik attacked Jinhyuk while he was not focused on fight. He barely dodges the attack. Hendrik says, your reflexes aren't too shabby. I'm sure I've told you before. That I'll test you. If you're not skilled enough to survive, then forget about going against God's will. Jinhyuk says, don't kid yourself. I'm going to test you too, Dragon Slayer. Fight between Hendrik and Jinhyuk is started. Hendrik destroying all spirit soldiers one by one. Jinhyuk throw many swords at him but he deflect all the swords and says, these shallow tricks. Jinhyuk is about to attack with his sword but Hendrik easily dodged the attack. Jinhyuk thinks, what, was an all-master's swordsmanship this strong? To think he dodged that so easily. Hendrik grab him from the wrist and throw him with so much force. Hendrik says, a mage? No, a necromancer. Taking your title into account, that's some formidable dexterity. But because of that trait, a problem will arise. Having 10th floor monsters arise would be surfacing an ineffective force. We see Vulcan is about to catch Hendrik with chains. Vulcan says, then what about the first spirit master? Jinhyuk is about to use a big attack on Hendrik. Gingnur. This is my strongest magic technique. That sliced a great orc warrior. See you. He launches his attack. Hendrik is trying to make himself free. He move his sword. Vulcan see his sword and says, that pattern. Don't tell me, that sword is. Hendrik breaks the chains and says, enchant, dispel magic. Vulcan shouts, dodge Jinhyuk, that guy's sword is. Hendrik launch his attack. Shattering Dragon Slash. His attack breaks Gingnur and is about to hit Jinhyuk. We see a big blast. Hendrik hit Vulcan and says, you're Jinhyuk's strongest soldier. Now then. I have nothing else to say to you. This is the end. Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk is behind him holding a bow on his mouth. And says, I'm the strongest one left, though. He launched many arrows toward him. He says, oh no. Compared to your swordsmanship, your bowmanship is atrocious. Jinhyuk uses magic to teleport arrows behind Hendrik. All arrows hit Hendrik and hurt him so much. Jinhyuk thinks, I hit. I landed a critical hit. I need to go all out and finish him off now. I could only bring out the side effects when I used this with Haryu, but this time, I'm going to succeed. He wears Oni mask. Suddenly Jinhyuk started getting pushed toward the ground. Hendrik creates a big fire tornado. Jinhyuk says, damn it. I missed my chance. He doesn't die easily. Hendrik with evil smile on his face says, you're strong. Jinhyuk, I lost in the battle of number. But this is the end, right? More. Charging Dragon Spark. Fight me more. Jinhyuk thinks, I can't see a way out. Even though I can track it with my battle foresight, I lack speed. If that hits me, I'll die. Then, he took out Fox Mask and wear it while thinking, I believe in you, Fox Mask. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. First watch the previous parts. The playlist link is in the description. Old man feel Jinhyuk and Hendrik fighting. He says, what's going on? Is it Hendrik, that crazy lizard again? Miho is going toward Jinhyuk. Old man tries to stop her saying, where are you going? It's dangerous. We see Jinhyuk wearing Fox Mask. He says, I believe in you. Fox Mask. Hendrik says, charging Dragon Spark. He disappears from there. Jinhyuk is wondering, where did he go? Hendrik appears in front of him. And attack Jinhyuk. But Jinhyuk is not there. Hendrik thinks, he dodged. This isn't a skill that he can dodge with his mobility. Jinhyuk appears behind him. He thinks, that mask, does it belongs to that mystical fox? Playing with masks. Jinhyuk. They both start attacking each other. Hendrik says, your mobility and power right now is incomparable to before. Is it the power of that fox mask? Jinhyuk deflects his attack and thinks, an opening now. His attack is about to hit Hendrik. Suddenly magic circle appear in his hand. Jinhyuk thinks, that bastard, he created an opening on purpose to use magic. Hendrik attack him, but Jinhyuk is safe. He uses charm, but charm has no effect on Hendrik. He says, I don't swing that way. If one focuses a little, a spell like that can be easily. He didn't complete his sentence. Jinhyuk appears in front of him while saying, bye, you'd have to stop moving for a moment. He thinks, I won't use a weak weapon at this distance. I'm going to finish it with this attack. Gyunghoon, I'm going to use your skill. All master martial combat, Fox's mobility, enchanted physical strength, spirit power, demonic energy, divine power. I'm going to put everything into this. This is it, you bastard. Gyunghoon technique, first form. Straight jab. Hendrik gets slammed into the ground. Vulcan is on the ground very injured. He says, did I lose consciousness? Who won? Jinhyuk came out from the fog with his eyes covered in blood. Spitting blood from his mouth. He is very injured. He thinks, I used up all my strength. My body won't move an inch. I should have finished him off with that move. Hendrik is still holding on but barely. He says, you pass, Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk shout, you don't. You fail. If someone have used their final move, then you should faint, you monster. He says, how annoying. To think that you would fail me looking like that. Fine, then I'll decide after using my final attack. I've taken a liking to you, so I need to pass no matter what. Jinhyuk says, wait, I can't move my body right now. Hendrik is not stopping. He says, flower dragon. Jinhyuk is about to get hit. He says, fine, you pass. You bastard. After that we see Jinhyuk is in the bed covered with bandages. Vulcan says, I told you not to go overboard. You're only alive because you met your eel and attained divine power. If you didn't have it, you would still be in your weak body. You would have died. Hendrik enters the room. He asks Jinhyuk, are you okay? Vulcan remembers what Hendrik said to him before. He says to Hendrik, about what happened before, I'm sorry. Hendrik says, it's fine. Since we're all in that same boat, let's let bygones be bygones. Vulcan thinks, he seemed like a lunatic when fighting against Jinhyuk. He's completely different in normal settings. Hendrik asks Jinhyuk, did I go a little overboard? Jinhyuk replies angrily, both of you fight me. I'm going to win next time. Hendrik thinks, he will, one day. Jinhyuk says, I called you here because I wanted to hear your story. About your previous life, and your death. Hendrik start his story. My family and my hometown disappeared without a trace because of dragons. The reason why I miraculously survived was due to my rage towards dragons. After that, I climbed the tower like the other climbers. Thankfully, I had talent. Jinhyuk says, he's similar to another bastard I know. Hendrik says, and I finally killed my first dragon on the 600th floor and started plotting my revenge. Jinhyuk asks him, the 600th floor, that's quick. So from that movement on, you went around to hunt the 4 royalties. He replies, yeah, but at the same time, the pursuit team under the 4 royalties started chasing after me. It was my daily routine, and then I got stronger, they're lighter the penalty. It wouldn't be wrong to say that their branch on the 800th floor is gone. Jinhyuk thinks, a penalty, a compensation system that's created so high-level climbers can't monopolize the tower. All climbers will receive a restriction upon their abilities on the lower floors instead of the higher floors they've reached. That's the reason why I was able to counter Gold Rich's attack. If there wasn't a penalty, I would have died from one attack. He asks Hendrik, wait, then, which floor did you reach? He replies, the 900th floor. On the 900th floor, my plan came to an end. Jinhyuk is shocked and thinks, the 900th floor. He could have become a transcendent. Hendrik says, in order to catch me, a stronger pursuit team under the 4 royalties was dispatched. In the end, I wasn't able to withstand against the dozens of members under the 4 royalties and became like this. It's ironic. And among the many species, I reincarnated into the body of a dragon. I wanted to die, But it's not easy to die in such a strong body. So I accepted it instead. I'm going to use this body as tool for my revenge. So when should we start climbing? You said we were going to wait for Haryu, right? Jinhyuk asks him, what? You're going to climb the tower with us? He replies, where would I go after leaving you, weakling? We're very alike, Jinhyuk. During my last moment, I was alone. You were too, right? We failed in our previous lives, so we need to learn from it. One would be conceited to think that they can go up against them alone. Jinhyuk says, yes, we need an ally, a bloodline, to fight alongside us. Hendrik says, so I'm going to make this offer. Why don't you create a guild? He asks, a guild? We see, 600th floors, Holy Kingdom's guild house. One girl is there, she says, how annoying. What the hell is going on? There is a man seeing something on his TV. He says, an interesting report came in, from the Wild Swallow branch on the 10th floor. It became a wreck after some guy burnt it down. And he did it alone. She asks, what, alone? Man replies, according to Beck Hollio's report, I don't think it's something that an organization or a guild did. She is shocked and says, impossible. In a low-level floor like the 10th, no matter how strong you are, you're restricted by a penalty. He replies, yes, even for 9 stars like us. It's impossible to conquer a guild house after receiving the 10th floor penalty. So the person behind it has already acquired overwhelming power, like us, when we first came to the tower. Well, it's still within the realm of possibility. She asks, what if someone like that exists? Then what should we do? He replies, of course, we should use the same method as 10 years ago, and kill them all. We're going to use a bounty hunter, someone good. We see a girl. We see Jinhyuk. He says, a guild. I agree with what you think, Hendrik. But there is a problem. I'm currently in the middle of doing Ball's quest. I need everyone in the tower to know my name before I reach the 100th floor. It'll be troublesome if my name stains you or your guild. Hendrik says, I see. Ball's quest. Then the answer is simple. You'll be the Grand Master, Jinhyuk. I never wanted to be the guild master anyway. Wait, saying I'm not confident to be in that position is a more accurate expression. If it's you, a skilled necromancer, you'll be excellent person to lead the army. Jinhyuk says, I'm angry, I'm still weaker than you. If I become the guild master there'll be times when I need to give you orders. Is it really okay for you to follow someone who's weaker than you? Hendrik sits on his knee and says, does that answer your question? He thinks, you don't know, Jinhyuk. The humiliation I went through. I was so enraged. How powerless I was. Jinhyuk says, for your gold this is nothing. He replies, yes. Jinhyuk with smile on his face says, fine, for both of our revenge, I'll become the Grand Master. Vulcan asks, then, what should we call our guild? Jinhyuk replies, the one who wears the mask condenses grotesqueness and defies the heavens. Heaven's defiance. What other phrase is more befitting? Person from Gold Lich Company says, welcome, Ghost Face. Jinhyuk says, Puppet isn't here. Then you are. He replies, yes, I, Halcyon, am the branch manager of the 10th floor. Jinhyuk asks, but, why are you here? Ken replies, I thought I'd pay a visit due to the tower's maintenance. What great timing, right? Halcyon asks Jinhyuk, what bring you here today? He replies, I want to make a guild. Halcyon says, I see. If it's a guild made by you, everyone would want to join. But to establish a guild, you need to have more than 2 members. Jinhyuk says, more than 2 members, then this is enough, right? Ken is shocked and says, the dragon from Central Street. Halcyon asks him, did you win him over? Jinhyuk tells him, this isn't all the member I have. I've also sent the invitations to others. When they've all gathered, I would like you to take action, so they can become guild members right away. Halcyon replies, I understand. Sir Goldrich has told me to do as much as I can for your requests after all. Puppet also receives a guild invitation. Haryu also receives a guild invitation. And also Goldrich. He says, a guild, he's doing something interesting. Jinhyuk is killing monsters on the 10th floor. Hendrik asks him, did you also get a quest from the 9-tailed fox? He replies, yeah, I think today I'll be able to complete it. Miho finally eat her last fresh liver. Light appear from the ground. Hendrik asks, wait, what happens after she eats all the livers? Jinhyuk replies, I wasn't told what would happen. System. The nine-tailed fox will return to her original form. We see Miho is changing her form. She turns into a girl. Miho call him daddy. Haryu appears looking very angry after she hears Miho saying daddy to Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk asks her, why are you appearing from there? This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. Miho took a human form. She calls Jinhyuk daddy. Jinhyuk, Hendrik, and Vulcan thinks, daddy. Haryu appears. She says, big brother. You. She is very angry. Jinhyuk thinks, who are you, appearing from there? Miho points toward Haryu and asks, who's that? Daddy. Haryu is very angry after hearing Miho calling Jinhyuk daddy. Jinhyuk says, hey, nine-tailed fox. What the hell is happening? The quest that nine-tailed fox give to Jinhyuk is completed. Congratulations. Miho has now become your pet. Jinhyuk says, pet, so this was what you were referring to by being rewarded favorability. Nine-tailed fox says, I'll leave my daughter in your care. Jinhyuk says, wait, sort this out before you leave. Vulcan says, congrats. Hendrik says, do humans give births to foxes these days? Are you guys teasing me? Haryu gets more angry and says, daughter, if his daughter is that old, then at what age did he? No, big brother is strong and cool, having a lover wouldn't be strange, yeah. That's it, from the beginning, I can just accept this and get over it. Thinking that I mean something to him. Haha, that's it, it's fine, I'm fine. Hendrik says to her, a female Oni, so you're Haryu. Nice to meet you, I'm Hendrik, I've joined Jinhyuk's party, I'll be in your care. Haryu sees Hendrik and suddenly she remembers the time when her village is burning. And everyone is dying. One person from the dragon race is there, who burns down the village. She gets angry and says, the village's enemy. Die, and attack Hendrik. He block her attack with the sword. Hendrik says to Jinhyuk, explain it to her. This child is misunderstanding something. Jinhyuk says, really, she saw you and got angry. You're on your own. Hendrik says, she may get hurt a lot. Jinhyuk says, don't worry, she can overcome it. Hendrik says, then, I'll deem this as the entrance test to go against God. Hendrik throw her away. She again attack Hendrik. Hendrik is holding her attack and says, you have good spirit, but you can't slice with only that. She gets attacked by Hendrik again. She is on the ground thinking, to think the difference in out strengths would be this big. My enemy is right in front of my eyes. But I don't have the power to carry out my revenge. Haryu's sword spirit says, yeah. That bastard. He's dragon. Young Oni. I'll let you borrow my power just his once. I'll give you the power to kill that dragon. Understand why I'm the dragon slayer sword. And show him. Haryu run to attack Hendrik. He says, is it a sword with an ego? How interesting. Nice. Come. She says, die. Hendrik easily stop his attack. She thinks, the power of the dragon slayer sword. With one hand, Hendrik kick her on the side. She in on her knees. He says, do no think that my sword is ordinary. If we just look at what it's made of, it's stronger than yours. Haryu is hurt. She thinks, dragon slayer sword, please give me strength. A powerful strength that can let me achieve my revenge. Sword spirit says, yes. That's the spirit. And give her his strength. Hendrik thinks, that's sword silk. She says, this is revenge for burning my village. I'll repay the resentment of the dead Oni. She jumped to attack Hendrik. Hendrik thinks, that power is beyond that child's level. The sword forcibly gave it to her. If I let this continue, the owner of the sword will be in danger. Hendrik said to her, let go of that sword. That power is like a parasite that consumes you. You're not at the stage where you can handle that. Let go of the sword now. She again remembers the time when her village was burning. She gets angry and says, I'll let go of the sword when you die. You, who burned my village, I will not forgive you. Hendrik thinks, I see, do you hate dragons? 2. Do you hate them so much that you can't handle it? Okay. Then as someone who has wielded the sword longer than you have, there's one thing I need to do. I need to stop you from walking the wrong path. Hendrik says, this will hurt a lot. But you won't die. Hendrik uses a big attack on her. She gets hit by his attack. She is about to get unconscious. She imagine herself standing in the forest of Oni village. She see a ball and pick it up. Someone call her saying, Sister Haru, please hold on to the ball for us. She thinks, it's the village children. Haru give their ball back. Small Oni asks her, why were you the only one who survived? She is shocked and says, what? Little Oni start burning and says to Haru, Sister, save me, I want to live like you. Haru start crying. Everyone is saying, why Haru? Why was it only you? Why you? Now she also start thinking, why? Why was I the only one who survived? Sword Spirit says, because you needed to. You needed to live on, because you can wield the Dragon Slayer sword. Even if all the Oni died, the only way to seek revenge is through you. Stand, the Oni do not forget kindness or vengeance. Hendrik noticed that she is on her feet again. He thinks, she can stand after getting hit by the charging dragon spark. She run to attack him. This time Hendrik get hit by her. Hendrik thinks, is that it? But we see that Haru's sword is breaking down to small pieces. Sword Spirit says to her, I guess this is your limit. You need to become stronger, kid. Hendrik says, you need to become stronger, until you can slice through me. Jinhyuk and Vulcan asks, are you both alright? She says, I'm fine. Hendrik says, it seems like she ran out of strength before she stabbed me. I think, it'd be best to let this child sleep. I think she's malnourished. It seems like she had repeatedly pushed beyond her limits. Using that sword has probably affected her a lot. Hendrik asks, will she attack me again when she wakes up? Jinhyuk replies, most likely. Since her story is similar to yours. You're probably one of that dragons that attack her village. Hendrik says, then I'll have to endure that resentment. The sins committed by the weapon belong to the owner too after all. Jinhyuk says, follow me, Hendrik. I rented out the whole of the second floor. Use it comfortably until Haru wakes up. Hendrik says, thank you, but you don't need to do that for me. As I said, the sins I committed by the weapon. Jinhyuk says, do you think I care about you? Haru can only rest comfortably if you're not in her sight. Haru slowly opening her eyes. She thinks, this feeling is, big brother. Miho is sitting in front of her and watching her. When she wakes up Miho says, wow. Haru says, you're big brothers. Miho says, the sister with the horns is awake. Jinhyuk asks her, are you awake? She says, yes, my head feels stuffy. Miho says, Daddy's here. After hearing that Haru again get unconscious. Miho says, she's sleeping again. Jinhyuk grab Miho and says to her, you might die if you don't change that nickname. Miho asks, die. Miho will. From who? Jinhyuk says, from that sister. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part.